Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here to talk about last night's, the season-ending game for the Dodgers as they lost 3-0 to the Diamondbacks. So going to get into all that. Hopefully we have a good crowd tonight. Going to be by myself. Austin actually had to work today, and I'm super excited to talk to Coach Holt in the morning. Hey, I got an article out on dodgersdaily.net. I've been spending most of my time today as far as my efforts towards my thoughts on what's happened to the Dodgers, what the Dodgers need to do going forward. I put most of my thoughts into that article, so head on over to www.dodgersdaily.net. Hey, Craig, how are you? I think I know. Good evening. Something has to change, no doubt about it. That is the name of this video and the theme of this live show, so we're going to talk all about it. I'm going to get into all of my thoughts, and we're going to do all that here in just a minute. Hey, just a reminder, not just in this chat, leave as many, we want all the chat comments as we can possibly get. Again, I'm by myself, so the better crowd we have, the better it will be tonight. Hopefully it will be a good crowd. Late notice, I didn't know I was going to do this till about 10 minutes ago, so just threw it out there and just decided to see who would join us and who would be available, so super excited about that. Just a reminder though, hey, not just in the chat, but go back into the regular video, leave a comment, leave a like, even if it's thanks or whatever. That helps that algo for YouTube, and it gets it recommended more, so this video gets seen more often, excuse me. So, hey, if you don't mind, do that as well, and we're going to have a good chat, too. Hey, Craig. Hey, Roy. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. I think I know. So, hey, super excited. Already have a great crowd on hand tonight. Also, if you or anybody you know wants to sponsor this show or the Dodgers Daily shows or in my dodgersdaily.net webpage or any of the social media platforms, you can just email me or DM me or leave a comment, whatever you want to do there, and I can get you all that information. So don't forget to turn on your notifications and make sure and like and share this video. Okay, enough of all the business. Let's get to it. So going to talk to Coach Holt in the morning. Super excited about that. Already have a great crowd tonight. Super excited about that as well. Have the, not the biggest, obviously, crowd here at Dodgers Daily, but in my opinion, we do have the best baseball fans going out there, so that's awesome. Okay, so Coach Holt, again, talking to him tomorrow morning. One thing that he really taught me, Mookie and Freddie are in the ER with frostbite. Yeah, no, they simply struggled, and it was a big struggle for them. One thing that Coach Holt taught me, that in moments to where you massively, you underproduce and you've disappointed and you just haven't reached your goals and you haven't come close. Okay, those are the moments to where, okay, you got to remove emotions. You got to quit being emotional and try not to be emotional to begin with, I should say. And then from that perspective on, then you really just got to sit down and actually think. Think about, it's easy to say fire Dave Roberts. It's easy to say Mookie sucks. It's easy to say Freddie sucks. It's easy to say this sucks, that sucks, he sucks, whatever, and all that. That's really easy to do. But what you have to do in these moments is that you really have to sit down, analyze, put together coherent thoughts as to, trying to get my lighting here, as to your best, interpretation of what you actually think is happening and why this is happening. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. That's where my article hinted to. I have all that there. Greetings, Todd. Hey, haven't seen you in a while, so thank you so much for joining, Todd. Greetings. Thank you for all the Dodger work. I appreciate you saying that, the Damino. Hey, not going to have your buddy tonight, Austin. Austin had to work today, so good evening to you, Damino. Thank you so much for joining. Going to be a great show. Okay, so not going to holler, not going to yell, not going to scream, not going to be dramatic. Okay, yeah, the bullpen was very solid, Todd, no doubt about it. Through thick and thin, we stay behind our team. No doubt about that, Roy. Going to think. We're going to try to actually put together a coherent thought here and actually try to, hey, as a community, I'd love to, but I've put my thoughts together, actually put together what I think are non-emotional, make sense type of thoughts as to, hey, where do the Dodgers have to go from here? We're going to disagree on probably almost all of this, not just me. I'm not saying me and the audience. I'm saying when you get 10 to 15 to 20 to all the passionate Dodgers fans together and you get a disappointing situation, there's going to be a million different ideas that a million different people disagree on. That's wonderful. That is great. That's exactly how you solve problems. You get everybody together, you get them thinking, you remove the emotions, you get everybody's ideas together, you try to mesh them together and put together the best plan. Can't do the same thing over and over again. No doubt about that, Craig. Austin and I joked today about buying you a new monitor after last night. Yeah, no doubt about it. It was a rough night. It was one of those nights that was, hey, Daryl, good evening. Thank you for joining more great content. I want to hear about the diabolical performance in the postseason. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. All right. First of all, the Dodgers in 4 years out of the last 5, and the last 4 years that were full years, not the 2020 COVID-shortened season, the Dodgers have lost to teams either in the NLCS twice, the Braves and the Phillies, and then the NLDS twice. The last 2 years, the Padres and now the DBacks, two teams that have won in the regular season less than 90 games. So with all of what I'm saying here, we all agree something has to change. If you're on the bandwagon of, hey, this needs to be a change at the top with Andrew Friedman, this needs to be a change at the top as far as management with Dave Roberts, I'm good with that. Hey, let me explain something about the coaching industry of which I've made a living out of. It is a running joke in the coaching industry, a very serious running joke, but it is absolutely a fact. You know, every time you go to a coach's clinic, it's like the first phrase that's out there. When you get hired to coach, okay, you know that you're getting hired to get fired. It's just literally simply, it's that simple. That is my dog in the background. Vivian, if you would, please let me continue on here. So hopefully she lets me continue with this. Okay, so as a coach, you know that you get hired to get fired. Now, Dave Roberts, okay, when you hire on to be the manager of the New York Yankees, when you hire on to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, when you hire on to be the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers, you know you are going into one of the most visible positions in the world, and if you don't win a world title, you are going to get fired. Period. End of discussion. So from that perspective, if you want Dave Roberts gone, I have no problem with that, just from the simple fact that, hey, coaches are hired to get fired. It has been 4 years that this has happened, and even though I don't think this is related to the performance that Dave Roberts is giving, I personally don't. I think he creates a great culture. I think this year particularly was squarely on the veterans. I don't think it's necessarily within his job description to have to motivate Clayton Kershaw. I don't think it's within necessarily his. Now, obviously it is, because he is the manager. He's in charge of everything. It is his job to get everybody motivated. But what I'm saying there is, you know, hey, that's why you have veterans. So, you know, they can take care of themselves. They should be able to police themselves and motivate themselves. If Dave has to give them a pep talk or go out and give them confidence, you know, I mean, that's why you have a Hall of Famer like Clayton Kershaw and you resign him to another year. So this, in my opinion, was squarely on the veterans this year. Clayton Kershaw got it off to a bad start. Mookie Betts, Freddie-Freeman, they simply did not perform. I think Max Muncy got a hit or two. Hey, Will Smith, he played pretty good. But by and large, you know, and the rookies, hey, the rookies didn't perform very well either. Not going to sugarcoat that. But I think we would all agree that when you're the Dodgers, you have a certain core of veterans. That's why they went veteran in the postseason. The rookies need to be auxiliary around them. So having said that, I don't think it's necessarily Dave Roberts' fault. I don't think he is the core issue as to what's happening with the Dodgers. And again, having said all of that, I have no problem if you think the Dodgers need new leadership, because sometimes even if somebody you don't think it's their fault, sometimes just a different message, just somebody different talking makes a huge difference. It's almost like when a player goes from one organization to the other. It's not that the organization that they're leaving is bad. You know, we saw that with Cody Bellinger. We know the Dodgers are a great organization. They just needed to hear a new voice. Sometimes you just need a new voice. So I'm going to say it again. If you are on the bandwagon of wanting Dave Roberts, a different manager, I got no problem with that. But I'm going to say it again. I don't think he's the core issue. So what are the core issues? Now, Coach Holt he instilled into me, if you have a complaint, if you come to me with a complaint as a coach, okay, I have no problems with that. I want to hear every complaint that you have. I want to hear everything that you think that I'm not doing properly. I want to hear everything that you think is wrong with this program, with one stipulation. That one stipulation is that when you come to me with a complaint, you better back it up with an answer. What's your solution? If you don't have a solution, don't come to me with the complaint. If you don't have a solution, go back and work a little bit harder until you actually do have a solution, or at least some ideas that can open up a dialogue that might lead to some solutions. So I'm not big on just complaining just to say complaining without coming up with solutions. So what would be my solution? Okay, this is where Dodgers fans are going to wildly separate on a million different, ideas as far as this goes. This is where it gets super entertaining, and very interesting. Here are my ideas. And I get a pretty close look as far as the minor leagues go, so I get to kind of see the organizational structure and their philosophies. Okay, I think the pitching this year can be pinned on just bad timing. Walker Buehler, they thought they had a chance at having him. They didn't know they were going to lose May. They didn't know they were going to lose Gonsolin. They didn't know they were going to lose Urias, okay? And then they didn't know that Noah Syndergaard was going to be a flop. So from that perspective, they never even expected to have to use Bobby Miller. They thought they might have to use Ryan Pepio a little bit. So I think they kind of got caught with their pants down, and it wasn't their fault. And the trade deadline wasn't any good. If you look at the trade deadline, guys, they wouldn't have helped, and all you would have done is given away prospects for trade deadline guys that wouldn't have helped. So from that perspective, I don't blame anybody in the organization for that. Having said that, I have been saying this for a long, long time. This organization has to go out and get a number one established starter. Preferably it be left-handed because, Julio Urias, you might lose Clayton Kershaw. I've been saying that all year. If you go back even to my shows back in May, I was saying even back then, if you don't get a number one starter, this team is going to have a very difficult time winning in the postseason. The Dodgers weren't able to figure out a way to do that, and that dearly, dearly cost them. The other thing that I have said, and I will tell you, like my last show, hey, I thought Bobby Miller was going to dominate. He didn't. When I'm wrong, Coach Holt taught me to be very humble about things. Hey, we're just guys that are sitting back drinking coffee, doing the best we can, giving our opinions. And if we're wrong, hell, we're wrong. We're going to be wrong a million different times, right? I feel like I will tell you if I think that I'm wrong in a situation. But having said that, the number one starter and the other theme that I've had all year long was that the Dodgers, and I've had this for about 3 or 4 years now, they rely way too much on the 3 outcome type offensive player. The 3 outcomes being home run, walk, and strikeouts. Okay, so, hey, the 3 outcome players are great. Max Muncy is the exact example of that. Chris Taylor, in large part, is an exact example of that. Guys like that slug. I don't have any problem with those guys, but, okay, you need to add more speed and more aggressiveness to this lineup. David Peralta, he hit 265 this year. That's not terrible, but it's not dynamic when you only add 2 home runs to that, especially with the guy that hit 2 stolen bases, I should say, not home runs, 2 stolen bases. You need a left fielder that steals more than 2 bases. Sorry, you just do. Okay? Jason Hayward, he had 15 home runs this year, but I think he had total between Jason Hayward and David Peralta, you had a total of 7 stolen bases. And it's not just the stolen base thing. Hey, I personally think Jason Howard's a good enough athlete. I think David Peralta's a good enough athlete. I think they could both steal. I'm not trying to throw them under the bus is what I'm saying. I think they're both capable of stealing more bases and being quite a bit more dynamic than the Dodgers actually asked them to do. Okay, so this is, in my opinion, a Dodgers systemic philosophy that is outdated, and it is time. You have the evidence. It is time to absolutely pivot away from it. And what you need to pivot away from is filling your entire minor league system full of 3 true outcome guys. The Dodgers' entire minor league system is littered with guys that strike out 2 or 3 times a game. then they hit a home run, then they walk. You know why it's littered with those guys? And it's not those guys' fault. You know why it's littered with those type of guys? Because those are the type of guys that the Dodgers have went and found. Those are the type of guys that they want to culture to become major leaguers. That's the type of offensive player they want. Okay, you need one or two of those guys. Max Muncy is okay, but only if you have 4 or 5 guys around him that don't strike out a lot. Max Muncy is okay, but only if you have 4 or 5 guys around him that have high batting averages. Okay, so here is the nitty-gritty solution for me. Hopefully Gavin Lux is going to be back. Hopefully he mans shortstop like we thought he was going to this year. Hopefully he reaches his potential offensively, which I've seen it with my own eyes. This guy can be an impressive offensive player, and hopefully he's very dynamic. Hopefully the organization asked him to be dynamic. When I say dynamic, I mean stealing bases. I mean taking the extra base on when the other team doesn't quite hit their cutoff man perfectly. I mean advance extra bases and push the button, if you will. Push the limits and make the other team make mistakes. Just be pesky. Quite frankly, be a pain in the ass to the other team. The Dodgers need more of those type of guys. Hopefully Gavin Lux can be that guy at shortstop. If Mookie Betts moves back out to right field, that leaves second base and left field open. Okay? Let's eliminate anybody in-house at this point. Let's say it's not Michael Busch and Miguel Vargas. If I had my druthers, Miguel Vargas would go to left field or third base, depending on what you do with Max Muncy. That's my dog again. Miguel Vargas would go to left field. Michael Busch would go to second base, and that would be the end of it. Let's say that you don't go with Miguel Vargas and Michael Busch, though. Okay? Hey, Vivian, would you? I'm sorry, guys. My dog is in the middle of letting me know about how unhappy she is about the Dodgers not winning last night. So, okay, let's say it's not Michael Busch. Let's say it's not Miguel Vargas. The Dodgers need to go out and get 2 players to fill those 2 positions, left field and second base, that are dynamic, high average, low strikeout, high stolen base, very athletic guys that are from a philosophical perspective asked by the organization to be dynamic. They need to go get 2 guys to fill those positions. Now you have Gavin Lux. Now you have your second baseman. Now you have your left fielder. Mookie Betts, in my opinion, he's not asked to be dynamic enough. Here's the thing. Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, they're not 3 true outcome hitters, but they're also not dynamic. That to me is not good enough. Okay? Your guys that aren't true 3 outcome type hitters, they need to be dynamic type players. Will Smith, I think he's a great balance of all of it. Mookie Betts, he needs to become more dynamic. And Freddie Freeman, hey, he stole some bases, so I'm probably being a little bit hard on him. But having said that, this offense throughout the whole year, we've seen it, because they've relied on slugging too much. We've seen periods of time, although they score 1 million runs, and they do every single year, we've seen periods of time where this offense has gone dry, sometimes long periods of time, and when they have gone dry, they've put absolutely zero pressure on the other team's defense. Okay, like for instance, let's say that every time an outfielder throws it into the cutoff man, if you're threatening to take the extra base and their throws, say, 10 feet to the left or 10 feet to the right, not in a straight line, you're taking the next base. Okay, that makes the other team try to be perfect. And when the other team thinks like they have to be perfect, that's when they make mistakes, especially if you're dynamic enough and you're skilled enough from an offensive perspective that the guy at the plate can actually hit behind a runner. With 2 strikes, he can actually put a ball in play that can score a run with less than 2 outs. That puts a ton of pressure on the defense. The Dodgers need more players like that. Let me give you a perfect case scenario. Shooters, okay? All shooters, hey, they need to keep shooting, right? Well, sometimes a shooter needs a layup. Sometimes a shooter needs a free throw. Sometimes they just need an easy bucket to see the ball go through the bucket in any way. It doesn't matter how they see it go through. They just need to see the ball get through the bucket to start feeling good about their night. And now all of a sudden they're shooting good from outside. Okay, so like a Freddie Freeman, like a Mookie Betts, they shouldn't have to just get a base hit to start feeling good about themselves, or certainly a home run. You need an offense that can put them in a situation to where, and they were in these situations. So in some, in some ways, this was a total failure because there were situations like that. I'm talking about over the long haul. Okay. You need situations to where Freddie Freeman, hey, maybe he can hit a ground ball to second base. He can get an RBI for it. Now it didn't take a hit just to get him feeling good about himself. Now he can relax and actually play, because I think we can all agree that Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, they were both very uptight with it. Okay, so the three true outcome thing, no doubt about it, over 162 games, it works. It puts you in the best odds to score the most amount of runs. But in short bursts and periods of time, the more aggressive, the more dynamic type offenses, those are the ones that I think data is showing have the better chances to win. Certainly the close games. We went a long time and had a terrible record in extra inning games and close games and that kind of thing, and that's the reason why. So those are the changes I would make. Those are the systemic changes within the system I would go to. That's what I would do. Okay, so again, if you have complaints, you need to have a solution too. Now, if you want to make that change with a new manager, I have no problems. I'm going to say that one more time, and I'm going to say again one more time why I don't have problems with that is for the simple fact that sometimes you need a new voice. That's where I land on that. I hope you don't think that I'm throwing Dave Roberts under the bus with that perspective. That's just where I come down. Hey, we are the Los Angeles Dodgers. We have been bounced four times by teams with less than 90 wins. Something has to change. Something has to change. Okay, we're going to get to some comments here. I hope I didn't ramble on a little bit too long. The crowd is just simply fantastic. As much respect, Dave Roberts, there needs to be a different voice in the clubhouse. That comes from Roy. I totally agree with that. Mookie and Freeman are in the ER with frostbite. Yes. Okay, greetings. Thanks for all your Dodger work. I've already read that from Todd. Thank you. Dodgers need to have an assistant coach to help Dave with managing or move him to the front office. That is a great point. Eddie Daves, who is a AAA manager here at Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma City 89ers, and he's one of my best friends in the world. Get to talk to him every day. He will tell you the most important person in that dugout is that guy that is standing right to the right of that manager. Because, hey, the manager has a million different things going on. He's working on egos. He's working on matchups. And that guy to his right is the guy that makes sure that manager doesn't mess up. And it's also the guy that makes, hey, the manager goes over to the player, and the manager, what's the manager's job when the game starts? Hey, fill him with confidence. Hey, we're all right, man. Good cut, man. You'll get him next time. No big deal. You took 3 good cuts. Don't worry about it. Let's just keep swinging like that. We'll be okay. That's how the manager approaches a player, right? Well, that's what that guy that stands next to the manager, that bench coach, that's what he does for the manager. Hey, Skip, you're doing the right thing. Baseball, it doesn't always work out. Trust me, you're doing the right thing. Just make the decision and let's go with it. And he is there to make sure that manager doesn't mess up. Hey, if we're late in the game and you need to be no doubles defense and the manager's worrying about somebody else's ego and hasn't even got to the fact, he hasn't even told the team, hey, no doubles defense, that's when the bench coach says, hey, Skip, you need to move on from this. We need to get to that. So that is a great point, Craig. No doubt about it. The Dodgers need an assistant coach that can be strong with Dave, that can get him away from the analytics, that can get him into the right matchups and make sure that he doesn't mess up. That is if the Dodgers decide to keep Dave Roberts. Good evening, Casey. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, the Damino. Football hires assistant coaches. Yes, that is correct. Todd says pretty solid bullpen for 3 games, no doubt about it. Through thick and thin, we are Dodgers. Can't do the same thing over and over. Yep, no doubt. Okay, so Daryl said more great content. Thank you so much. Okay, Roy, here we go. Here's some new comments. Roy says first sign Ohtani to get another bat in the lineup. I wouldn't disagree with that. Okay, but when I say that, I want Ohtani. I think the Dodgers need to go all in for Ohtani. I don't think it's necessarily for his offense, though. I think that does help. I think it's more so from the perspective the Dodgers simply need a number 1 starter, a bona fide number 1. Hey, think about this. If the Dodgers had a bona fide number one starter this year, Clayton Kershaw could have paced himself at about 95 innings. He would have been healthy for the playoffs. Tony Gonsolin, you remember Tony Gonsolin was injured, and he didn't even get to finish his rehab. He actually did, other than one start in Oklahoma City, he did his entire rehab at the major league level, okay? If you had a number one starter this year, Dustin May could have came back and thrown maybe 2 innings at a time. Maybe he doesn't get injured, okay? So if you go get an Ohtani, that slides back at Bobby Miller. That takes a ton of pressure off of him. That slides back at Ryan Pepio. That takes a ton of pressure off of him. That maximizes and allows the organization to optimize the amount of use these guys get, and therefore, hey, it allows them to set up the playoffs a little bit better. Having said that, the Dodgers, they are so careful with their minor league arms. A lot of times they don't even let these guys get to 60, 70 pitches. They don't let them go over 30 innings to 1 inning. More injuries, it seems like, now than ever. I don't know that that's actually working. I don't think that the protecting – I think it's gotten to the point now to where it's overprotection, to where you're protecting arms so much that they're actually not in shape enough to do what they need to do over the course of a season. That's just me talking. I don't have the science behind it. The Dodgers organization has all of that. It's fantastic, but it just sure seems like there's a lot of injuries, especially as of late to the Dodgers pitching staff. Okay, in my opinion, Todd says not for Ohtani, conflicted on what to do with Max. I think that, what you do with Ohtani would be, part of what you do with Max. Okay, I think what you do with Max is going to be determined on what you do with right field, what you do with second base, what you do with left field, what you do with shortstop. If you feel like you go sign 2 guys at second base and left field, again, let's leave in-house out of it. Let's make this easier, okay? If you go get 2 guys that you think are going to hit 315 and 310 and have high averages, low strikeout percentages, guys that can steal bases and be dynamic, if you feel like you go and hire those 2 guys, and then you also have Gavin Lux, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman's going to hit for a high average, Will Smith's going to hit for a high average. If you go do those 2 guys, I think you can re-sign Max. Okay? I think if you go put a guy in left field that's going to strike out quite a bit and be a 3 true outcome guy, even a Michael Busch who strikes out a lot, I think it's tough to have a guy like Michael Busch and Max Muncy in the same infield because, yes, you're going to get a lot of offensive production, but you're going to get a ton of strikeouts, which, again, is going to lead to long periods of time where your offense does absolutely nothing to threaten the defense. And if it's in June, okay, by the time it's July, you forget about that period of time. But if it's in September and it happens in the first 3 games of the NLDS, it's catastrophic. So I think what you do with Max has to be based on the type of player you fill in the holes of your starting lineups with. So Max Muncy can be in the lineup again, but it has to be around other guys that don't strike out and hit for high averages. Okay, Roy, Eric Karros and Yadier Molina could make good managers. I would agree. Eric Karros, very good communicator. Most of being a manager at that level is being a good communicator. Catchers make good managers. Bulldog as pitching coach, Pujols as bench coach. Thoughts about it? Yeah, no doubt about it. And obviously Eric Karros, he has a son in the system, so he has a dog in this fight too. Not only is he a former Dodger, he has a dog in the fight. His son Eric Karros had a great finish to his season at High A Great Lakes, so I promise you he would be totally interested in it. I think Dodgers fans would get behind that. Yadier Molina, I think, would be a tremendous manager. He would have fire. He would have passion. He would bring all of that to the game and obviously the knowledge. And then, Oral Hershiser, I would doubt that he would want to become the pitching coach. I don't have a problem with Mark Pryor. I think Oral Hershiser is probably pretty happy with the gig that he has right now. You're getting to kind of be in the same competitive environment, but it's a lot less work. So that would be interesting to see how that goes. Okay, Craig says players stop listening to managers or coaches after 5 years. Pat Riley and Phil Jackson said that. I totally agree. Hey, and there's a saying, I was told this by John Chappell, who was in the Oklahoma Secondary Schools Activities Association, the OSSAA. He's in the OSSAA Hall of Fame, and I would like to think that I had quite a bit of behind that because I was as number 1 assistant for 18 years, okay, which was most of his career. And the one thing that he always told me, and he was from Guthrie, which is where he was the head coach at, he always told me that every year you lose 10% of your support. Because when you are a decision maker, especially in competitive environments, every time you make a decision, you are creating a winner and you are creating a loser, meaning Johnny plays left field, Joey doesn't. So Johnny wins, Joey loses. And over time, as you continue to make these decisions, you make so many people upset with these decisions that you end up, losing almost all of your support as time goes on, even if you've done a great job. That is absolutely a fact in coaching, okay? Beyond that, that's not even what Craig's saying. Beyond that, okay, just over time, these guys need to hear a different voice, okay? They just need to hear a different voice. It's the same. Let me ask you this, okay? What if you went to your workplace and it was the same, it was Groundhog Day every day, over and over and over. It's the same message. Hey, and the Dodgers are super positive, which I think you guys know that I love. I love the culture Dave has built. I love the positive culture. I talk to these guys that get invited into it. They get to play underneath it. They love it. The culture part of this, that's where Dave has excelled. That's where he actually is an ace. He is an ace in building a positive culture and making guys want to play and making guys want to be at the ballpark. So, take Matt Holliday, one of my friends from Stillwater, Oklahoma, who is an all-star. He has more money than he knows what to do with. Do you know where he would rather be? He'd rather be at a ballpark. So when you're talking about major leaguers that make 10 times more than the manager, and they literally could be anywhere in the world at any one given moment that they choose to be, Dave Roberts is great at making those guys want to be right where they're at, which is in a Dodgers dugout. That's where he excels. Having said that, over time, I think you just need to hear a different voice. It gets to be Groundhog Day every single day. You get caught in a rut. And then especially when you get in the rut the Dodgers are in, where, hey, you're going to have a good regular season. It's going to be, struggles in the playoffs. Now you have that reputation. And if you don't change anything, that is serious pressure to put on your entire team. I mentioned with Coach Holt, I didn't want to use the word in our podcast last Friday. Is there a situation to where everybody's worried about choking? Yes. And that we both point blank said that because it's happened in the past. Now it's happened again. So I guarantee you next time you go, if you keep Dave Roberts and you go into the playoffs next year, they're going to be puckered. They're going to be absolutely puckered because of past results. So from that perspective, I totally agree that just hearing a different voice and stopping listening after 5 years I totally agree with that. Okay. Troy, good evening. Thank you, Troy Porter. Hey, great last name right there. Certainly appreciate you joining. Hey, we're going to start doing more of these live shows. Hope you join more and more and more, and we can get a great crowd going here, a live crowd for Dodgers Dogs. Okay, Troy Porter, all season long, the lineup work counts. Would work counts put pressure on the pitchers and defense and show patience, resulting in crooked numbers and extended innings? I didn't see that in the past 3 games. The reason why you didn't see that, here's the exact reason why you didn't see that. Number one, okay, when you go into big games as a pitcher, the first thing that gets brought up in your meetings is you have to throw strikes. You cannot give the other team freebies. There's too much pressure to give the other team freebies. The margins are too slim. You can't give them freebies. So what happens is a guy, a guy goes out to the mound, okay, and instead of trying to strike everybody out with his nasty, he's going out there and just trying to make good pitches that land in the strike zone. So that working the count, trying to grind walks, all of that is a lot more difficult in the playoffs because literally the number one goal of that pitcher is not to walk anybody. That is the number one goal of any pitcher in a huge game. Plus, in a regular season game, there are a lot of times to where a manager is pitching down staff because he knows he has 7 or 8 games coming up, and he knows he's probably not going to win that game, but he's willing to lose that battle to win the war so as not to tax his bullpen going forward. So there's a lot of times to where you're facing less pitching than when you face in the playoffs. When you face the pitching in the playoffs, hey, when you're in the playoffs and you're managing, it's like managing a high school game almost, in the sense of you put the best guy you have available next. So whoever the best pitcher is that you have available, that's the next guy that comes in. So you're always facing the other team's best guy they have available, and not necessarily a mapped out game that a manager has mapped out based on the next 22 days. So that makes the philosophy of trying to draw walks and put up crooked numbers from that perspective a little bit more difficult. It also makes it to where you have to, if you're going to have that philosophy, you either have to hit home runs if you're the Dodgers, or you have to get a lot of base hits if you're not a team that slugs. So that's my thoughts on that. Dave Roberts gets too close to the players and makes decisions with his heart and not his head, i.e. Kenley Jansen. I would bring up Austin Barnes. We've mentioned this all year. I've said it I don't know how many times. He is my favorite player in the organization. He was the first player I got to meet in 2019 when I was on the Oklahoma City Dodgers ground crew, and he got brought back down. I saw his grind. I was so impressed with the way that he got to work and made himself a better player and got back on top of his game. Having said that, there was only one reason you keep Austin Barnes, and that's to be Clayton Kershaw's personal catcher. If you're not going to be Clayton Kershaw's personal catcher, somebody else needs to be on that roster. Okay, Dave Roberts is going to take criticism for putting Austin Barnes in as a right-handed hitter, which, okay, that's fine. Okay, first of all, he needs criticism because you can't just empty your bench and leave you without a catcher. What happens if Will Smith gets hurt, right? Okay, but the fact of the matter is, you know who should have been hitting in that situation, in my opinion? It should have been Ahmed Rosario, who hit .311 in the postseason, who, by the way, is fast, who, by the way, is that guy that could create havoc on the defense. That's who should have been hitting in that situation. I have no idea why Colton Wong even makes that postseason roster. Why not put Ahmed Rosario on that roster? That just makes no sense to me. And if you're not going to catch Austin Barnes with Clayton Kershaw pitching, which is the only defense that I've heard of Austin Barnes in the last half of this year as to why he would make the playoff roster, then that tells me you put him on there because you're sentimental towards him. You put him on there because you're loyal to him. You put loyalty to Austin Barnes ahead of what might have been the best situation for the Dodgers. So the Dodgers went out and they got veteran catchers. I can't remember the guy's name that they went and got major league experience. Had a very good last month of September for AAA Oklahoma City, and they went out and got him. They had options. Hunter Fiducia, I know several different times on this show, several different of our fans, great fans. Hey, Hunter Fiducia hits fastballs very, very well. Hunter Fiducia could have been put in a pinch hitting situation. You could have told Hunter Fiducia, hey, dude, you destroy fastballs, and especially you destroy fastballs with high velo, which is 100% fact. Go out there and hunt a fastball and destroy one. That would have given the Dodgers a better chance than Austin Barnes. So by not catching Austin Barnes when Clayton Kershaw pitched, again, that tells me that you put sentimental value over actually making the best decision for the club. Am I wrong? That's how I see it, though. And again, keep in mind, Austin Barnes, my favorite player in the organization. No doubt about it. I don't mean that to throw shade. I mean that to say the brand always has to come first. The name in the front of the jersey always has to be more important than the name in the back of the jersey. It always has to be that way. Okay, if you can tell, I'm a little bit fired up. Trying not to get emotional. Trying not to get pissed off about the fact the Dodgers can't figure out how to win a single playoff game. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to be as rational, and I'm trying to think and trying to actually come up with logical solutions that, because logical solutions like, hey, if the Dodgers do this, that might work. That's really the only thing that makes me feel better. Just going and cussing and ranting and getting pissed about this and throwing everybody else under the bus and feeling like when you're done, you're not any closer to getting better than you were when you started. That doesn't make me feel better. What makes me feel better is actually analyzing it and actually thinking, hey, the Dodgers are a little bit closer than I thought. Maybe if they just do this, that'll help. That's what actually helps me. So for that, I really appreciate all the great thoughts because these are wonderful in terms of, getting to that point. Okay, 2021 through 2023, Dodgers feel like the 2011 through 13 Tigers, of which this is from the Damino who lives in Michigan. Absolute dominance in the regular season with a loaded roster and no rings to show for it, but they have beaten the Yankees, though. Haha, yeah, no doubt about it. So, hey, there is a certain element to the postseason that is a crapshoot. I get it. Hey, a lot of it is just due to who's hot and who's not. Not getting swept, though. Okay? I mean, you can win one game. You can figure out how to score more than 6 runs. You can figure out how to have starting pitching that doesn't give up 14 runs in 13 innings or 13 runs in 14 innings, whatever it is. Okay? You can figure out how to take Lance Lynn out after the second home run. Hey, I don't have a problem with, obviously he needed to roll out there. The first home run, it is what it is. Then he gets the ground out. That makes total sense. We're rolling with it. Hey, it's 1 run. You got to score 1 run to win anyways. I got no problems with Lance Lynn up to the second home run. When the second home run was hit, you walk out and you take him out, in my opinion. Okay, again, I'm getting emotional, so I apologize for that. If I'm getting a little bit too strong with my message here, let me calm down a little bit. Let me breathe. Okay, but after the second home run, I got no defense for Dave Roberts. And I got no defense for the fact that you're saying you're saving somebody for the next day, Ryan Pepiot, of which, if you watch the pregame show, this is not hindsight for me. I probably rambled on way too. I probably wore you guys' asses out about this yesterday. About, hey, I told you that. And again, hey, I'm wrong way more than I'm right. So I don't mean this to sound arrogant. I try to be a very humble person. Again, Coach Holt taught me how to be humble, and I try to honor that. You know, my dad taught me how to be humble. I try to honor that. So when I say, hey, I told you, I don't mean that in an arrogant way. But I told you I wasn't going to pitch last night unless Lance Lynn just gave up 4 runs in 1 inning, okay? That wasn't going to happen. Even though Lance Lynn apparently came out and said it was going to be him and Pepiot, that wasn't going to happen. And when Dave Roberts comes out and says we're saving Pepiot for tomorrow, now you got Ryan Pepiot, who is your best pitcher, coming down the stretch. And not only was he your best pitcher, 5 walks. 5 walks. 2.14 ERA. Almost as many strikeouts as he had inning thrown. Now you have a guy in Ryan Pepiot that this time next year, here's the worst part of this. You say, hey, well, rookies are a crapshoot in the postseason. Well, now it's going to be a crapshoot next year. You know why? Because he still hasn't thrown in the postseason. Bobby Miller, you took him, I don't have a problem with taking Bobby Miller out, although I do think Bobby Miller could have recovered. We've seen a history of that, and I think he could have went 5 or 6 innings and given up only the 3 runs that we saw him give up. I think he easily could have done that. But I do understand having the short leash for rookie, okay? But those short leashes, I'm telling you, that leads to pressing. So what you ended up with in a year that was led by the rookies, saved by the rookies in a lot of ways, Bobby Miller, okay? No real appreciable experience, no positive experience. Emmett Sheehan, mop-up duty in a situation that was ridiculously, it was so difficult that I don't think you can even evaluate it. Ryan Pepiot, 0 experience. Kyle Hurt left off of the postseason roster. I think really the only rookie that got experience that James Outman didn't play the last game. Of course, he did play good the first 2 games. I get it. Didn't look comfortable. I get it. But still, again, 5 at-bats. That's all he got in the postseason. You can't evaluate after 5 at-bats. If you're going to evaluate and put that much pressure on a guy in 5 at-bats, that's how you get them to be results-oriented instead of process-oriented. And even Mookie Betts, when we saw Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, they can't handle the results-oriented mindset. That's what the playoffs are. So if they can't handle it, I'll dang sure guarantee you rookies can't handle it, which whenever you have short leashes on James Outman, when you have short leashes on Bobby Miller, when you put Lance Lynn out there instead of Ryan Pepiot, that is a just clear indication that you have no confidence in your rookies. You're going veteran, and so there for that perspective, the Dodgers lost last night and left completely empty-handed. At the very least, they could have gotten, they could have at least gotten a little bit more experience out of these guys and felt like, hey, we took a lump this year, but we're ready for next year. I don't even feel like the Dodgers are ready for next year with the rookies. That's one of the probably the biggest burrs in my saddle right now is I don't even know what the rookie's left with as far, and again, okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not, a lot of that's on them. Bobby Miller should have went and pitched better, okay? James Outman, okay, he could have done better than 0 for 5, right? Okay, I get all that. But having said that, still, I mean, you got to give rookies, you got to give them some leeway. Like Corbin Carroll had leeway. I mean, Corbin Carroll, so for example, if you'd have taken Corbin Carroll as good as he was, if you'd have taken his last 2 games, the last 5 at-bats, okay, he didn't get very many hits. I think he got 1 hit. If you'd have taken that sample size and said, oh, he's not very good because of these 5 at-bats, I mean, you can't do it in 5 at-bats. That's kind of what I'm saying. Okay, so let's get back to some more comments. All I ask is that Houston gets booted really soon. No kidding, damn it. I don't know if I'm rooting for Texas. I got to say, Oklahoma City was the affiliate of the Texas Rangers forever. They're close. I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but hey, Andrew Heaney's an Oklahoma State boy. He's in Oklahoma City. He grew up in Oklahoma City. I'm good friends with his former high school coach, Jim Drummond, there at Putnam. Well, it was at Putnam City when Andrew Heaney went there. So I'm a huge Andrew Heaney fan. Plus, he was at Oklahoma State, and I got to see all of his outings there. I love Corey Seager. I don't know how you feel about me, and still really, really rooting for Corey Seager. That's fine, but I do really like Corey Seager. So super rooting at this point. I'm 100% rooting for the Texas Rangers. No doubt about that. Plus, it's about 3.5 hours from my home. So that's kind of where I'm at right there. But definitely anybody but Houston Astros. Probably not the Phillies because I'm not a big fan of Bryce Harper. His type of I don't know, just kind of him. He doesn't really set well with me as far as the way that I don't like his attitude, that kind of thing. But that's okay. I mean, that's on me. That's probably me being the old guy, get off my lawn type of old guy. So I would say I'm probably at this point rooting for the Texas Rangers. Okay, would anyone take Barnes' salary, even if it's $3 million? Still too much for one of the worst players in baseball. That's from Hep C. I would probably say no to that. I wouldn't think they would. And hey, guys, I'm going to put it to you point blank. I think Dodgers Daily is a super positive. Okay, so here's why. First of all, I'm a super positive person. I've just never had a scenario in my life where thinking negatively actually did any good for me. Okay, and that doesn't mean you don't address the problems. That's not being negative, and that's being real, right? Okay, but more than anything, hey, I try to pattern Dodgers Daily after the same tone and same message that these players live underneath, the way that the Dodgers run things. That's how I like to run Dodgers Daily here, with that same type of positive energy. Okay, so having said that, I only say that to say, okay, this is a day of frustration. Get it out. This is no holds barred. I'm pissed. You're pissed. Something's got to change. I don't care. No holds barred today, guys. I mean, there are times where even in the Dodgers organization where everything's super positive, you need to close the damn door and you need to hash it out. It's not always rainbows and sunshine. That's what today's show is. It's not rainbows and sunshine. I'm pissed. I'm trying not to get emotional. I'm trying to think as much as I can. I'm trying not to be negative. Okay? I hope I'm not. And if I am, I'm sure the great crowd here will they'll get me back on track. But I wouldn't think that anybody would take that $3 million of Austin Barnes. So let's keep scrolling through here and get some more. I think I just, yeah. Okay, so let me scroll back up. Give me 1 second, guys. I only have one guy tonight, so I'm having a hard time both trying to talk, and I'm getting on my tangents, if you can't tell, and it's getting me behind on the comments, which is a great thing because that means there are a lot of people in the lobby, which is a wonderful thing. We have just a tremendous crowd tonight. So, okay, let's get back to some of these comments right here. Okay, Austin had Leo DeRocher and L.A. sort of fiery assistant coaches to help them out. I think there's a way that you can keep all the good parts of Austin Barnes in this organization, make him very effective, but not taking up a spot on the 26-man roster for absolutely no reason. I think there's definitely a way you can do that. The Dodgers are in queue. I think, hey, good evening, Jesus. Thank you for joining so much. The Dodgers are in queue. Akeem, thank you so much for joining. He says cut Muncy. I don't have a problem with that. I have no problems cutting Muncy. I understand that he does damage. I understand that he drives in runs. I'm not disagreeing with that. So I'll put it to you this way. If you're in the bandwagon of keeping Muncy because he drives in over 100 runs, I have no problem with that. if you're in the bandwagon of, hey, let's get rid of Muncy because he hits under 200, and he kind of, whenever the Dodgers go into these spells where they don't score and they have dry periods, he adds to that. I have no problem with that either. So I'm kind of torn on Muncy. Like I said earlier, I think that's going to determine on the kind of players you put at second base and left field based on what you do with him. And also J.D. Martinez. Taylor Young, I mentioned him in my article today. The Dodgers need more guys like him. Taylor Young, Austin Gauthier. Okay, I have 45 concurrent viewers, so everybody's going to be able to verify that this statement was made. Okay, and I apologize for it, but, and I messaged him, and I told you this, and I told him this, okay? Taylor Young has an FU attitude to the other team. One of the things that really frustrates a lot of people nowadays is that the Dodgers can be down 2-0, and it can be, hey, we as fans, we're pissed off, we want to win. And then you look out, and the guys are joking. It looks like they don't care, right? That's just kind of today's modern day and age of athlete, not Taylor Young. Taylor Young has an FU attitude to everybody he's playing. I love watching that young guy play. And, hey, he's little. He's always been overlooked. He signed for way under market value, and he's on a mission to prove people wrong. So that type of mentality is the type of fire. I'm glad that the Domino brought him up. Taylor Young put up Ricky-level stolen bases number. Yeah, I believe he had 56 stolen bases. That's the type of player you need. No doubt about it. Taylor Young, with that FU attitude, with the ability to just, hey, he's going to stand on his head. He's going to do a cartwheel. He's going to lean into a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. He's going to do whatever it takes to get on base. Once he gets on base, then he's going to steal a base, and then he's going to score a run, and then he's going to piss the entire team off, the entire team he's doing it. And once they're pissed off and he's in their head, he's going to give them a gigantic middle finger as he's doing it. I love those kind of guys. And the kind of guy that he reminds me of, that type of mentality, was the Kirk Gibson type of just kick-ass guy. I think that as good as Oral Hershiser was and that whole team, I don't think that team is what it is without Kirk Gibson and his no-nonsense FU-type attitude. Hey, look at your leader, Tommy Lasorda. I think it can probably get old from time to time when you have a guy like that and it's every single day. But, hey, those kind of guys, you need some of those kind of guys. Taylor Young, no doubt, is that kind of guy, so Dodgers fans will love that from him if he ever makes it up. So the only options they should sign is Kershaw, Rosario, and Hayward. I'm going to say this point blank. I'm going to say this out loud. I don't think I'd keep any three of them. I mean, I think it's time that the Dodgers and Clayton Kershaw, I think they part ways. Now, hey, maybe if Clayton Kershaw wants to become a reliever in the bullpen, but do you want to have an 88 to 90-mile-an-hour reliever that, doesn't miss bats anymore? We'll see. I mean, I don't know. Is that sacrilegious of me to say that I think it's time for the Dodgers and Clayton Kershaw to break apart? Maybe it is. I don't know. And hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully he comes back and hopefully he kicks ass next year. And hopefully he throws better than he ever has. And hopefully I am 1,000% wrong on that. And also, I'm not 1,000% convicted on that either. But kind of where I'm coming from is from a managerial perspective. When he's injured, he's not injured. He's injured, he's not injured. Then hey, is he going to pitch? No, he's not going to pitch. When is he going to pitch? And then you're trying to incorporate rookies around a veteran that can't get his schedule set. And it's not Clayton Kershaw's fault. I don't mean to be throwing shade here. That just makes things so difficult to map. So in a lot of ways, hey, if you just start next year without that type of situation at hand, I think it would be easier for whoever the manager is to define roles for the starting pitchers and move on and figure out, exactly what they did with the bullpen. The bullpen struggled forever, but it wasn't until, hey, you got a Ryan Brazier and you got everything settled down and into routine. Once you got into a routine, Yency Almonte, for instance, no longer was part of that bullpen. Not that he's not good. It's just that, hey, he's hurt, he's not hurt. Hey, he's hurt, he's not hurt. So you get a bunch of guys, you know who they're going to be, you define roles, and then you just get better from there. That's kind of what I'm talking about, the effect that not having a guy that's injured all the time, the positive elements of not having that guy. So hope that didn't make anybody mad out there. But, hey, Atlanta, Akeem says the only option is sign. Okay. Orlando, good evening. Thank you so much for joining. Dave Roberts needs a right-hand man to help fire the team up and get in their face when they don't perform. Honey and vinegar, good cop, bad cop. Hey, that is 100% correct. And it's not necessarily firing up. It's not necessarily yelling and screaming. It's more so having an assistant coach that is so in tune. Like as a manager, you need to keep your distance. It's almost like a dad and his son, okay? You want to have a wonderful relationship, and you certainly don't want your son to be scared. But you do want there to be that just slight bit of uncomfortableness that makes that player think, hey, if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, I'm going to get the wrath of this guy. And if I get the wrath of this guy, that sucks really bad. You need that certain amount of uncomfortableness. So that the head manager, the head coach, really honestly doesn't need to get real close to the players. Matter of fact, it's a detriment if he does. He needs to have that slight bit of uncomfortable relationship with the players. And then you need to have that right-hand man that knows how every player ticks. So when the manager does something, like I can't tell you how many times I made a statement to a kid that I knew was going to blow him up. I knew it was going to piss him off. Okay? And that's what I wanted to do because I wanted to at least get some kind of emotions out of it. And then you go to your right-hand man and you say, hey, go clean that up. Go get that done and get him back in the right mode. Get him into compete mode. Use that energy, the emotions that we just got out of him. Take that emotion and actually turn it into something positive. That's the right-hand man that exactly Orlando's talking about. A guy that right-hand man isn't necessarily all X and O's. That, Dave might make a statement to somebody that doesn't set well. Or Dave might walk up to the team and go, hey, guys, unacceptable. Get your crap together. I'm not going to put up with this crap anymore. And it pissed people off. And then that right-hand man can go in and individually and clean things up. That guy is so super valuable. I did that for 18 years for a Hall of Fame coach. And I can tell you it was so much fun. And you developed such great relationships. And it was so rewarding because you felt like it was so needed. So, Orlando, that is a great comment. Michael Carrillo says, agree, Craig Oskerberg. Hi, Michael. Orlando, keep Dave, but he needs a partner with fire. Yes, that is a great take right there, Orlando. The Domino, I'm sure they won't, but if LA does fire Roberts, who would your personal choice for a successor be? Okay, I wouldn't fire Dave Roberts personally. So to be honest with you, the Domino, I have not even thought about the actual people. The type of person that the Dodgers need in this situation is in my opinion, they need an older type of guy that the guys are really going to like, they're really going to respect, but that an older type of guy that doesn't make a negative type clubhouse, but also is a type of guy that, hey, get your crap done. I'm not putting up with this. Here's the routine. I'm not going to play favorites. I don't care who you are. This is how this is going to go. I don't care what your name is. I don't care if you signed for $38 million. We all play by the same rules. We need that kind of type of manager. I don't know who that guy would be because, like I said, I haven't really analyzed it because I'm not to the point where I would fire Dave Roberts. I would do a lot of other things from an offensive structure perspective first. I would do a lot of other things in terms of, maybe a bench coach, maybe a different direction as far as motivational techniques, that type of thing first. So I hate to ride the fence there, Domino, but that's kind of what my answer is there. So, okay. Dodgers should hire Benji Gill. Hey, Benji Gill, by the way, Eddie Days, my good friend. I talk about it. I bring up Eddie Days like 80 times a day, so I apologize for that. By the way, Eddie Days, he was the manager of the AAA Oklahoma City 89ers when Benji Gill was coming through, when he was part of the Texas Rangers organization. And Benji Gill, man, he was a huge prospect. I remember going and seeing him many different times. And back then, it was All Sports Stadium there at the fairgrounds at Oklahoma City. So, hey, I would be all for the Benji Gill hire. Can speak English and Spanish, so nothing gets lost in translation. That's a very good point. I know the Tulsa Drillers, they have Jesse Guffey. He's always the trainer of the year. He speaks both English and Spanish, and he does a lot of the translation as well. Otani then trade for Burns, then sign Yamamoto. Boy, that would be, Hep C, you're swinging for the fences right there. That would be Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you want to call it. That would be the gold mine right there. I don't like Roberts, and he should be gone like yesterday. That's from Paul Smith. I feel you, brother. I absolutely feel you. Today is no holds barred. I feel you. We're all hurting. We're all pissed. This is the day to get it out. This is the day to, hey, let's spit it. Let's get it out. This is the closed door meeting. Let's get it out and go. I feel you. Again, I'm not on the bandwagon that it's Dave Roberts' fault. I don't think this year, I thought last year he pulled the right strings other than pulling Tyler Anderson out. I thought that was the one decision he didn't pull correctly, and that ended up costing the Dodgers. But I think that the margins have been so slim, and that hasn't been because of him. That's been because I think there's a philosophical problem with the way the Dodgers approach offense. So, yeah. Okay, Michael, add help. I think that breaks the bank. Yeah, no doubt about it. If the Dodgers went and got all those guys, it certainly would. Will signing Ohtani, Yamamoto, then trade for Burns address the rotation? Okay, Hep, I'll tell you this. I think just one of them. I just think Ohtani fixes the whole thing. I think you're that close. So many times, this is why you have to logically think and not just be emotional, in my opinion. So many times you're so much closer than you actually think. I think if you get a bona fide number one starter, okay, and then that allows you to bring Clayton Kershaw back, and I'm going to explain to you why, okay, and then you slip, and then you get, say, Walker Buehler back. He becomes your number two. Then you get a Tony Gonsolin back, and he can either be bullpen or he can be number 3 or number 4. Probably Bobby Miller is your number 3 at that point. Ryan Pepiot is probably your number 4. Tony Gonsolin is probably your number 5. Clayton Kershaw at that point, he can be that swing guy. He can be the guy that Ryan Pepiot was supposed to be this year, and Clayton Kershaw can make spot starts. He can be a guy that can piggyback. The kind of the Ryan Yarbrough role of this year. And I think in that role, Clayton Kershaw would be just absolutely awesome, because I think we know we would love having Kershaw still around and in the dugout, but only I don't think he could be your number 1 or 2 starter. I don't think he needs to be a starter on your rotation. I think going and getting a number 1 starter pushes it back far enough, as long as Buehler comes back healthy, which he will. I saw him with my own eyes. Buehler didn't come back, in my opinion, because this is a contract year for him, and he didn't want to do anything to jeopardize next year, which is a contract year for him. I think that was the number 1 reason why he didn't come back. Plus, I didn't think he thought that he would be good enough to really help the team. So why risk that while you're really not that much big of a benefit to the team? I think that all played into it. Okay, so I think Walker Buehler is going to be back, and I think he's going to have a good year. I think Bobby Miller is going to have a really good year. I think Ryan Pepiot is going to have a good year. And then I think between Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin, Emmett Sheehan, Nick Frasso, okay, River Ryan, I think between all of those candidates, Gavin Stone, right, okay, Kyle Hurt, between all of those guys, you can find that 5th starter. And then again, I'm going to say it again, that allows you to allow Clayton Kershaw to be the Ryan Yarbrough role. And he just kind of can piggyback. He can come in whenever you want, and I think that would be perfect. That's a great idea. See, this is why you get in the war room and you start. That's why I say, hey, you don't have to necessarily have solutions, but at least have ideas that can open up dialogue to where by the time you end up talking about it, you come up with answers and situations that actually make you think that it will work. Okay, Gonsolin won't be back for another season. I have a feeling May might be a pitcher that is injury prone. I would agree with that. I think he's probably destined for the bullpen. And we still don't know how Buehler will turn out. Yeah, just talked about that. Okay, at Fernando, Michael says that is all true. Todd says, let's go steal Stephen Kwan for left field. Yeah, don't agree with signing a $500 million player. We could use that money to get multiple players this team needs. There will be plenty of starting pitchers and position players to choose from. I'm not real huge on the free agency market. I think it's going to be slimmer than you think. I think the free agent market, especially when you're talking about starting pitching, I think it's going to be Ohtani and then a bunch of guys that are, Dylan Cease type levels, maybe Lucas Giolito type levels. Okay, so I'm not an expert on that, though. We'll get into that more with Austin. I understand what you're saying, Mike, that, hey, one guy for $500 million, I don't disagree with you necessarily from that perspective. I just think the number 1 starter perspective of it would be a absolutely huge Juan Soto for left field. Yeah, I think he's a little bit too much of a diva for Los Angeles, kind of the Yasiel Puig factor. I don't know how big of a fit he would be. And honestly, Paul, I don't know how good he is, so maybe. And he's going to, I think he's going to cost a lot more than he actually is going to be good. That's kind of my opinion on that. And I could definitely be wrong on that. Hep C says, Dodgers are definitely missing a Juan Soto type cocky a-hole. Well, that goes to show, for the reasons why I think he doesn't fit in, Hep C thinks the Dodgers actually need him. I can't disagree with that. Hey, maybe the Dodgers actually do need the guy that doesn't fit in. That's a cocky a-hole that will break the culture and actually give this team a little bit of the kick ass that it actually needs. So, hey, that's actually a great point. So, oh, God, no, Soto is one-dimensional. Yeah, see, that's kind of where I tend to agree. It's less the a-hole part of it and more so I think he's just going to get paid a lot more than he actually is good. I think he has a name to him, and we don't see him every day like the Padres do. I think if you saw him every day, you might change your mind on him. And again, I could be right. Hey, bring back Sammy Sosa, Paul Smith says. Yeah, the Damano, Jared Karros was great in the playoffs for the Loons this year. Yeah, it was Jared Karros, Eric Karros' son, no doubt about it. He was just simply fantastic all the way down the stretch. I love seeing all the second-generation players, no doubt about that. Dodgers need hitting. Soto does that. Yeah. Hire Dave Goggins to get in Mookie's face. Yeah. Jared is the son of Eric. Yeah, no doubt about that. Thank you for that comment, Paul. Fernando, losing to DBacks does not hurt as much as losing to the hated Madres. They both, opponent aside, you underachieved. I mean, point blank, regardless of who it's to. I get what you're saying, Roy, and I don't necessarily disagree with you because the Padres are, the Dodgers are their older brother, if you will, and you kind of want to slap them around. So I understand what you're saying. Can't stand a fan base that talks smack and never won a World Series. Yeah, no doubt about it. Okay, no free bases, says Paul. Pika Pete, man, we haven't heard from you in a long time. Pika Pete used to comment on every single one of my videos. I was wondering where you went, and you are back. Hey, thank you for joining. It is great to hear from you again. Dodgers got bounced because of these two words, pride and night. Yep. Okay, Paul Smith said correct. The Damano, controversial take, but I kind of want a DBacks Rangers World Series. The team that's never won versus the team that's never lost. I love fun historical significance matchups like that. Yeah, I bet you would be fun on a podcast. You and Austin together with all of your wonderful statistics and analysis from that perspective. That would be great to watch. Okay, Hep C says, Dodger Stadium cursed because they kicked people out to build it. Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm just throwing out theories because I don't know anymore. That is absolutely awesome, Hep. That is an awesome comment. That is hilarious. Okay, the Damano, all I ask is that Houston gets booted. No doubt. Paul says he agrees with that. Would anyone else take Barton? Okay, we've already gone through all these. Let me scroll to the bottom and work my way up. Okay, Mike. I hope you sent that email, by the way, Mike. Super excited that you going to jump on and maybe write some stories or whenever you want. Hey, anybody, if you want to be a beat writer or if you want to do any podcast work, just let me know, man. We'll work you in. Trying to grow the community here at Dodgers Daily. I will make you an author on the dodgersdaily.net. Just let me know if you want to do that. I would love everybody on here. This community is so great. I would trust everybody on here to just throw out something wonderful about the Dodgers. So if you want to do that, let me know. You can email me or leave a comment. I will put you on as an author, and we'll get going from there. Mike says Yamamoto is just as good, if not better, than Ohtani. Okay, you would know more than that. I honestly have never seen Yamamoto pitch. I know Austin is a lot better at that, so I'm going to trust you on that, Mike. Ohtani is already on his second TJ. That is a great point. Okay, so let me say this. When I say Ohtani, I'm not necessarily advocating getting Ohtani. I guess I made it look like that. I guess those were probably my exact words. What I'm saying is a guy that can clearly, without question, walk in from day one into the Dodgers clubhouse and clearly, without question, be the Dodgers' number one starter. And so when I use the Ohtani, I kind of mean that kind of guy that could clear. But that is a great point. He's already on his second TJ in 3 years. I don't see him lasting long. So yeah, totally did. Okay, great job. Great, Mike. I will look at that email. I'm going to the Bluegrass Festival tonight, so it'll be in the morning. Can't wait to look that up. Michael, Tony and May aren't coming back next year. Okay. Friedman and Boris don't mesh. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, man, they might if the Dodgers start, hey, whenever you get bounced by the Padres and then the Diamondbacks, you start thinking a little bit differently about things. So I don't disagree. I agree with you from that perspective. I know Ryan Pepio is a Boris client. So, hey, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, overall, yeah, that I think you're right there. But I do think there is some wiggle room there for the right guy. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so betting coaches need to be replaced. Batting coaches, I'm sorry. No, let me back up. No, none of the Dodgers coaches are betting. Holy cow, that was terrible. Okay, that was the wrong letter to misinterpret. Hey, this is Deuce, by the way. Deuce, thank you so much for joining. Batting coaches need to be replaced. Too much dependence on homers and launch angle. 100%, absolutely, totally agree. I don't think that's necessarily the batting coaches teaching them that. I don't think that's Van Scoyoc teaching them that. I know, J.D. Martinez has one of the flattest swings in the entire organization, and he is a Van Scoyoc disciple. I think that is simply a philosophy that the organization stresses with their hitters. They stress power. They stress slug. They stress hitting fly balls over ground balls. Obviously you want line drives. So I think that's more of an organizational philosophy than it is necessarily a hitting coach problem. Plus, honestly, all these guys have their own hitting coaches anyways that they go to. So I think the hitting coach a lot of times at the major league level is just kind of a token guy that's there to, hey, maybe help you gain some confidence. It's, hey, we're good, maybe throw you some BP. But beyond that, I think their go-to guys are guys that they've been going to for a while. Danny Duffy and Jimmy Nelson will make their debuts today. Oh, wow. Okay, that's from FC. Got to see Jimmy Nelson a lot in AAA Oklahoma City. He simply could not throw strikes for about his first 10 to 15 outings. His last 4 or 5, if you go to my social medias, hey, they were pretty good. And, boy, I tell you what, I got to see that slider in person a lot, and that thing is absolutely dirty, nasty. Okay, Dino Ebel is a hypothetical replacement, but this year Roberts is only partly to blame, so he shouldn't get fired. Hey, the Julian Lopez, thank you so much for joining. I covered that earlier and talked about it in quite a bit of depth. I 100% I'm on your page right there. Totally on your page right there. Okay. Hey, Deuce, great comment. Benji Giller, Chase Utley. Yeah, Chase Utley I know is in management right now. So, hey, that would be kind of cool if you would have to see if he would want to come down. He's got a pretty good gig going. Does he want to come down and spend the time that it takes to run a clubhouse and a locker room and a dugout? That would be interesting to see. But, yeah, definitely Chase Utley would be a great candidate. No doubt about that. Love the Gibby. Shout out, by the way. He is a legendary. He is a legend here. As he is in L.A. Of course, he was with the Detroit Tigers forever. That was the Damano mentioning that, who lives in Detroit. Eduardo Rodriguez is expected to opt out of his contract if he ends up signing with the Dodgers after blocking a trade earlier in the year. I'm making my own fired up live stream. Yeah, that would be quite good theater. New to the channel, SU on Dodgers Nation a few weeks ago. New subscriber. Hey, thank you so much. I believe that says Eli Anthony, I think that's what it says. If I have that wrong, I do apologize. Thank you so much for being a new subscriber. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Let me say this, DBacks, I enjoyed going on him. He is the best content creator out there for the Dodgers. I even retweeted, hey, if you're feeling this or that this morning, go watch DBacks' post-game show last night. He dominated it. It was an awesome post-game show. He did just an incredible job with that. So thank you so much for coming on over and being a subscriber here at Dodgers Daily. We are in no way, shape, or form competition to Dodgers Nation. We are friends. And anytime that I can help DBacks, matter of fact, we communicate quite a bit. We message via Twitter all the time. About this or that. He'll ask me questions about a prospect. I'll ask him this about, hey, who might make this roster or this or that. So, hey, we are great friends with Dodgers Nation, and I love it every time he invites me to come on. So thank you for watching that show, and thank you so much for coming on over and giving me a chance. I hope you keep coming on. We certainly enjoy the shows. Pepio not pitching in the series was ridiculous. I totally agree with that. Deuce, not only was it ridiculous, it was super disappointing, and it didn't do anything for next year as well. The only bright spots, this is John Nayee. I think I said that right. Jonnayee. Johnny Yee. I'm going to say Johnny Yee. That's what I'm going with. Okay. I don't have any audio of people saying so. If I said that wrong, I do apologize. The only bright spots moving forward is the development of Miller, Sheehan, and Pepio. They did have a lot of development. I think also you could add Michael Grove to that. I think they finally found a role for Michael Grove. They gave him the cutter, And, hey, he was nervous last night. You could tell by his exhale when he came off the field. That was a tense moment for him. He got through it. I feel like he climbed a hurdle yesterday. I feel like he's that 1-inning, 2-inning guy that's going to be really effective in the pen. His stuff's going to play up in the pen. He's going to reach 96 to 98 with the good slider, the great knuckle curve, and the good, I should say, cutter. And he also has the good slider, too. So I think you can add Michael Grove to that bright spot as well. And I think James Outman had a very, very, very good year as well, too. Obviously only 5 at-bats. I don't think you can really evaluate that. They can only get better. I can see Sheehan becoming a solid number 2, no doubt. I said this time last year when I went in. It's funny that Eli, I think it's Eli. I'm going to say, let's see. Yeah. I'm just going to go with Eli right here. Mentioned that I was on Dodgers Nation. I went on with Doug McCain about this time last year, and he likes to ask me, hey, what's your biggest, hottest take? And I said at that time, Emmett Sheehan might have the most explosive fastball in the system. And because it's got that ride and run, it's a matter of fact, it has so much arm side run to it. It was actually labeled as a 2-seam sinker for about his first 4 or 5 outings. That's how much run it has to it. So I totally agree. You're preaching to the choir, and Emmett Sheehan, I've been high on him for a long, long time. So, okay, Pepe or not? Yeah, okay. So Chase Utley for manager, that would be a great, great, great choice. If that Enrique, hey, good evening, Enrique. Thank you so much for joining. Hey, I hope you turn your notifications on, guys, so every time I throw a new live video out there, you come on over and you join us. We try to get to every comment. We try to have great conversation about the Dodgers. We try to be as real as we possibly can be. So thank you so much for giving me a chance here at Dodgers Daily. Super appreciate it. Great comment about Chase Utley. I think you would make a great choice at manager if the Dodgers do move on. I don't think they will. So I think this is probably all a moot point. But again, hey, this is no holds barred. This is the day after, okay? This is the closed locker room the day after. We're getting all of our emotions out. We're getting our feelings out. We're talking Dodgers baseball. By the end of this, hopefully, at least I feel a little bit better about it. So, okay, for Kershaw to stay, in the big leagues, he needs a knuckleball or screwball like Fernando. Yeah, you can only imagine, though, with all the injuries, Greg, that he's already had. If he tries to pronate that thing even a little bit more, that probably would even aid to that, so add to that a little bit. Mookie being 6 for 48 since 2021 postseason. This is Johnny Yee, okay? Great stuff. I love these statistics. This is why I love having Austin on the show with me. I used to do my shows by myself, and, hey, that was okay, whatever. I'm sure you got bored of hearing me talk over and over and over. But when I brought Austin on, Austin just has these incredible numbers. And not only does he have numbers, he has incredible perspectives of how to put those numbers into action and actually make them make sense as to why they're productive for the Dodgers. So I love this kind of stuff, Johnny Yee. Mookie Betts being 6 for 48 since 2021 postseason is also something that he needs to address. He can't rely on being extremely hot during August and regress during September and October. I think what would help him too is if everybody around him, if the Dodgers had a more dynamic offense to where they could score and win games even when he wasn't getting hits, because I think right now him and Freddie Freeman, I think that the offense is so one-dimensional that they feel like if they don't get hits, then the team's not going to score and we're going to lose, so everything's on their shoulders. So, hey, in the game of baseball, you're taught there's so many at-bats, so many games. You're taught, especially as a hitter with so much negativity, so much failure, you're taught to focus on the process. Hey, am I swinging at the right pitches? Does my swing mechanically look good right now? Even if all that's the case and I'm not getting hits, I'm not going to worry about it because my process is good, right? But when you get into the postseason and you feel like you have to hit or the team can't score, then that shifts to being focused on results. And I think if the Dodgers had a more dynamic offense to where they could score 5 or 6 runs, win a game in a situation to where Mookie and Freddie, a big playoff game I'm talking about, where they don't produce, I think they could relax from the perspective that they would feel like they didn't have to do everything for the offense. They could then get back into the process type thought process, and I think that would really help them out because it would match the way they think in the regular season. I would also cut CT3. I think I'm on that bandwagon as well. Hey, he's a guy that, another one of those very clutch. So it would be tough to get rid of him from that perspective, but another one of those guys that either strikes out or hits home runs. And I'm going to be quite honest with you, I'm kind of tired of watching that. I mean, I just am. That might be me. That might be the old man get off my lawn mentality towards that. But say what you will, it's not working. Okay, we've lost 4 times in the last 5 years to teams that haven't won 90 games. Okay, how many of those teams for the Dodgers have won at least 100 games? Okay, so something has to change. So I don't mean this as a slight to Chris Taylor. I think he's a great player. I'm just kind of tired of his style of offensive player, although he is clutch. So I don't want to take that clutch part of it away from him. Muncy for a 16-year-old Dominican shortstop. Yeah, lots of shortstops in the system. I mean, tons and tons of shortstops, starting with at the high level Alex Freeland and going to Raindon Cone and Wilman Diaz. And, you know, you could put Taylor Young over there. Austin Gauthier can play shortstop. Tons of shortstops coming up. If they have him DH, they cannot sign Ohtani or perhaps keep Martinez, which I doubt they will. Totally agree with that. Johnny Yee, you need to come back every single show we have. You need to leave comments on every single video I do because, hey, this is absolute money. This entire lot. Everybody here, of course, Hep C comes back. Fernando comes back. I see Annie Ann. I don't recognize that name. Wow, really? You would cut Muncy? I would DH him? Yeah, hey, that's totally an option. And again, Annie Ann, thank you so much for joining. You know, my take on that is I think you only can keep Max Muncy if you fill second base and left field full of guys that don't ever strike out and that hit for high averages. I think that could balance out Muncy. So I think that's kind of how you view him. That's how I view him, at least. Muncy was one of my favorite players, but I have no problem cutting him. That's exactly where I'm at, Fernando. Exactly where I'm at. Hey, if you want to keep him, fine. If not, I understand. But if you keep him, know the stipulations of the type of offense you need to build around him. Okay, I agree. Cheering Seager to beat the cheaters. Yeah, thank you, Enrique. Thank you for that comment. Johnny Yee, I am not big on firing Roberts due to his managing this year, but a new voice at times can be necessary for something to change. 100%. That right there. Let me read that again. I am not a big fan of firing Roberts due to his managing this year. He did a unbelievable job getting this team to 100 wins. Incredible job. The postseason, in my opinion, other than leaving Lance Lynn in after the second home run, that wasn't on him. It's not on him that Mookie Betts didn't hit, Freddie Freeman didn't hit, Clayton Kershaw didn't pitch, and that all he had left was to turn to rookies. That wasn't on him, okay? So let me read this again. This is exactly where I'm at, and Johnny Yee put it in one sentence. Okay, I wrote a story on it today, and it took me like 18 pages. Johnny Yee did it in one sentence, okay? I am not a big fan of firing Roberts due to his managing this year, but a new voice at times can be necessary for something to change. That is absolutely, in my opinion, the take on Dave Roberts. That's, in my opinion, how Dodgers fans need to approach him. Hey, if we do go a different direction, that's not a slight to you, Dave. It's just to say that, hey, we've had our time together. Thank you, brother. We appreciate everything you did. It's just time to do something different. You know? I mean, like, I love oat milk cream pies. But if I had 8 of them a day, I probably wouldn't love oat milk cream pies, right? At some point, it's time to eat something different, right? I mean, I love pizza. I love steak as much as I love steak, okay? I'll bet if I had steak every single night for dinner, I probably would get tired of it. So, yeah, that's kind of how I view that. That is exactly how I view it, actually. Go Brave said, good-looking honky. All right. Good-looking honky. Thank you so much for joining. I certainly appreciate you joining the live show. I guess by change you mean fire Roberts. Fernando, doesn't it? No, I went over my change earlier as far as the offensive philosophy. That's what I would change first. Harper has the killer attitude, yes, and the Dodgers need some of that. Great comment, Michael. I want Texas versus Phillies. Good-looking honky Dodgers fans. Hi, Peter North here, old. I'm so disappointed in our Dodgers. Thanks, Peter North. Okay. Paul Smith, Francona. Francona is decent. Yes, Francona's a great dude, man. And he's that guy that's he's got that Dave Roberts really great guy to him. Going to create a great culture. But then he also has a really great bottom line. Hey, I love that name, Terry Francona. Hey, great job, Paul. That is a great name. No Soul, says James Soto. Thanks for joining, James. Make sure and come back for all of our live shows. Turn on your notifications so every time we go live, you come back on over, join the lobby. Make sure and leave comments on the regular videos we do. It is not about no good players. It is about lacking of spirit. I think the lack of spirit was tightness and tenseness. I know for a fact when players are nervous, when they're uptight, nervous isn't the right word. When they're up tight and their muscles are tight, it comes off looking like they're disinterested. I think that's what it was more than lacking spirit. I think they were just tight. And when you're tight, it comes off looking like that. I say that Dodgers stay out of the playoffs till they stop doing Pride Night. Yes. Okay, Hep C, if they don't respond by getting Shohei, Yamamoto, and Burns, then it's a failure of an offseason. I wouldn't say if they don't get all three of those guys. I think I'll put you this way, Hep. I think if they go the offseason and don't do something to really, really bolster their starting staff, I would say that would be disappointing. And I would use the term disappointing. Devo, thank you so much for joining. Hey, come back every single time. We would love it. Turn on your notifications. Become a subscriber. Would love it if you gave us a chance over here at Dodgers Daily. Dodgers being so lackluster and zombie fight, if I was manager, I would have told one of my pitchers to bean a batter, start a mess, hey, and wake everybody up. That is a great point. There's all sorts of tricks that you can do like that to get a team fired up and get things going. Yeah, no doubt about it. There's all sorts of little tricks that you can do to try to generate at least some emotion. That's what I was talking about earlier. Sometimes a manager will piss a guy off, which is a negative emotion. Then they'll tell the right-hand man to, hey, take, at least now we have some energy in this guy. So take all the negativity out and make it something positive. I love that idea, Devo. That's a great idea. I want Francona. I do too, man. That's a great name. Again, I don't think the Dodgers are going to fire Dave Roberts. I'm good either way. I've explained that. But if they do, I want Francona as the Dodgers manager. He is one truly challenging his players to play at the next level, and they love him. The players love, the players love Dave Roberts. They would love Terry Francona in the same way, but I think you would also get that challenge from Terry Francona. Okay, Johnny Yee, look at the Phillies, 2 big game pitchers with Wheeler and Nola, along with sluggers and lots of contact. First guys. Exactly. There you go. Man, I'll tell you what, Johnny Yee and I, if we sat down and talked baseball, we would be on the same page just over and over and over and over. They play aggressive too. That's a dynamic team. They know how to increase the intensity. There you go. That's your perfect case scenario. Paul Smith says, Lynn is garbage. Well, I tell you what, I understand what you're saying. And again, this is no hold barred. This is no holds barred day on Dodgers Daily. We're all upset. So what I'll say about Lance Lynn is that he's been a good pitcher, not a great pitcher. I think Bob Costas said that last night, and that made total sense to me. And he did actually what he was supposed to do with the Dodgers. He wasn't supposed to come over and be a guy that was going to be a stop guy in the playoffs that you had to rely on in Game 3. He was a guy that you were coming over to eat innings so you could try to get Clayton Kershaw healthy, so you could give your rookies time to round into shape. And I think for the most part, Lance Lynn gave this team what they actually needed out of it, or were expecting out of him when they picked him up, in the sense that he ate the innings he was supposed to. So I don't think he was meant to be the guy that was throwing high-stakes innings like he was last night, which is why I'm so frustrated that they went with him over Ryan Pepio. The Damino, after watching this stream, I nominate Casey as the next Dodgers manager, or at least as a motivational speaker somewhere. Hello. Well, I can tell you this. I've done it many different times in front of many different types of teams and many different sports. So I appreciate you saying that, but that is funny. There's an LOL at the end of that. So, hey, one of the biggest parts of that is don't take yourself too seriously. But then also don't be afraid to let your kids see your emotions too, I mean, hey, as the leader, you're supposed to be this cool cat guy, but there are times where the kids, I say kids, they're professionals here, but they need to see the human side of you, right? They need to see the side that, hey, you're hurting too. This pisses you off too. So I think that's important. James Soda, how to enhance their game as a single unit. Nobody is working on that aspect of it. They each just play own game without an integrated strategy, just poor management. Yeah, that's kind of what the 3 true outcomes does. It's not team baseball. It's, hey, somebody walk and the next guy hit a home run. Whereas if you're hitting behind runners, if you're walking, if you're stealing bases, like the Cardinals of the 80s, that's team baseball. So, hey, that's a great point, James. There's a lot to say to that, and there's another reason, kind of a perspective I've never really thought about it as far as the 3 true outcomes versus the dynamic type offense. There's another reason to support the dynamic type offense. That's a great point and a great way to look at it. Honestly, I'd never thought of it like that, to play as a unit, a group of very complacent players who do not have any continuity, a continuous improvement plan in their mind. Mike says, this is the most fired up I've seen Casey. Yeah, no doubt about it. I usually keep my cool. Pretty frustrated. I hope, Mike, that you're not disappointed in me from that perspective. I'll get over it, and we'll move on. And I promise you I won't be like this every single day, but today is just a little bit different. So Ad Help Brubaker is way better than both. Yeah, no doubt about it. Ad Help Brubaker, yeah, no doubt about it. Austin, I'm certainly missing him tonight. We have a team of star players, but not hunger for a win. Yeah, there's a lot to say about that. That's one of the biggest complaints of Dodgers fans. I just want to see, this is Devo. Thank you for joining, Devo. I just wanted to see one player or coach fired up and say they were pissed off, yes, and not be all low-key somber. Totally agree. Kind of the tone that I'm trying to set tonight. I think the clubhouse could use someone like that. That's kind of what I'm, I know Mike just mentioned this is the most fired up I've been. This is kind of the tone that I would have, if, of course, I'm just a guy like Coach Holt said, I'm just a guy drinking coffee 1,500 miles away, so I don't know squat. But this right here, this type of show, this is the tone I would have set for a dugout, no doubt. Austin wins, the better Austin. That's, yeah, Hep C. He's got those one-liners, definitely. Devo, I just wanted to see one player. Yeah, we just talked about that. Hey, Seuss, thank you for joining. Awesome job. Thank you so much. I hope you come back for all of our live streams. Turn on your notifications. Bush, Lux, Vargas, DeLuca, and Hunter Paduccia need an opportunity. You're preaching to the choir. I think Vargas did get his opportunity. I don't think he has any room to complain. They gave him a lot of runway. They removed his runway, I think, at the exact right time. I think Vargas needs to play third base next year. Actually, what I would do is I would put Michael Bush at third base, and I'd put Miguel Vargas in left field. And then I would go get a very athletic, fast, high average, low strikeout second baseman. That would actually be my game plan if I was a general manager. But again, hey, like Coach Holt said, I'm just a guy drinking coffee 1,500 miles away, and I don't know squat about it. So take that for what it's worth. This was the last season for this Dodger club to have the best chance at winning a World Series. No guarantees after this one. Yeah, because you have like a J.D. Martinez. You have a Mookie and a Freddie in their prime. You have Clayton Kershaw coming back. Would anyone so I think we're down. I've gotten up to those. Let me go back to the bottom. Are the old days just completely gone of pitchers punishing batters off the plate if they're too comfortable against your team's pitching? Well, what's happened is if they miss inside, they hit home runs. So that, and another part of that is that's the one thing I don't like about the DH is that I think if a pitcher is going to bean a guy, he needs to face the music and be the guy that gets hit himself. I don't think it should have to be his teammate. That's the one thing I don't like about having a DH. Invest more money into acquiring quality scouts. Players do not seem to be responding well with the current management. I think the scouting is fantastic. Good, Robert and Kim De Leon. Hey, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. I hope you come back. I hope you leave comments on all of our videos. Yeah, the scouting is very good. The Dodgers, here's the deal. The Dodgers always finish so high. They never have real high draft picks. They do a wonderful job of finding guys like give me an example. The Dodgers' number one prospect, Dalton Rushing. I think he was like the number 43 pick of the draft. So they don't have the high draft picks. They do a wonderful job scouting these guys. I think they do a wonderful job training these guys. I think where it goes off the rails, where it has gone off the rails, is that they simply have gotten too many of the same type of guys, offensively especially. But you look at pitching, most of their pitchers are high-riding four-seams or left-turning sliders, right-turning change-ups, and tumbling change-ups. Almost, when you look at Ryan Pepio, you look at Michael Grove, you look at Bobby Miller, you look at Nick Frasso, you look at River Ryan, you look at Kyle Hurt, you look at Ben Kasparius, they're all the same. So I think if I had one complaint, I think the Dodgers try to get too much of the same type of players. Offensively, that same type of player, again, I'm going to say it again, is the 3 true outcome guy. So I don't think that type of player is bad. I just think the Dodgers get too many of them. I think they need some more diversity to that. Okay, so Swiss rolls are better than oatmeal cream pies. Come on, the damn it. No way. Swiss cake rolls are not better than oatmeal cream pies. Okay, everybody, Grizz, good evening. Good to see you. Hey, everybody in the lobby, you have to vote. Oatmeal cream pies or Swiss cake rolls. This, by the way, is making me feel a lot better than talking about baseball. Talking about Swiss cake rolls and oatmeal cream pies. That's making me feel a lot better. Okay, so 2 main changes. Fire Dave Roberts, okay, and 2, fire Andrew Good for absolute nothing Friedman. That would be from Team Rules. Yeah, that would be pretty drastic. I think the complaint you could make for Andrew Friedman is that he didn't go out and get you a number 1 starter. He didn't, he had a chance with the roster to add a couple of pieces. He didn't do it, but I've explained that where I think he got caught with the pitching side of it. I don't blame him as much from a pitching side of it as some others, because I think he just got caught. Okay, Mike, Brusdar had that emotion in game 2, and the team didn't. That's a great point, Mike. He did. He tried. Brusdar absolutely tried. He 100% did, and the team didn't follow. So there you go. There's a great example. 100%. Hey, Grizz, good evening. Thank you for joining. Okay, Francona has health issues. Okay, I did not know that. Thank you for letting us know. Okay, Jesus, they need to let go some of the guys and maybe bring back Cody and Turner. Yeah, that maybe. I mean, I guess, was Turner, was Martinez and Rojas combined, who cost about the exact same amount? Were they as good or better than Turner? Probably. I don't think bringing Turner back is the situation. I would be curious as to how Cody Bellinger would do again back in a Dodgers organization in a system that's going to want him to hit in a certain way. I think part of what reinvented him was the fact that he did get to see a new environment, get to hear new voices. Not that the voices in the Dodgers are saying anything wrong. They're wonderful. They do a great job. But then again, it's kind of like what we're talking about Dave Roberts. Sometimes you just need to hear a new voice, and that helps you out. So, Muncie, Altman, and J.D. Martinez were the only guys that saw 5+ pitches and a back. Good point, Grizz. Grizz always has very in-depth, very thoughtful, just tremendous comments. Hey, if you don't believe me, just go to some of the videos and just read some of Grizz's comments, man. They are absolutely fantastic and awesome. That's a great point. They were the only ones that really grinded a lot. Gerald, good evening. Thank you so much for joining. This is Gerald 828. I appreciate you so much for coming on here. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. We want you to come back as much as possible. We want the lobby to be like this every single show. Dodgers hitters have too much swing and miss, which gets exposed against good pitching. Bingo. I'm not like Dodgers Nation, and I don't have all the bells and whistles. I'm a one-man show here, and I'm running on free software and all that. If I had all the bling-bling and the bells and whistles, I would be knocking them right now. That is 100% correct, Gerald. Great comment there. Hep C, do you like a Lux, Freddie, Mookie, Shohei, Smith top 5? I like Mookie being protected by Shohei. Maybe that helps him in the playoffs and not hitting leadoff. Do you feel different? Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I think that the more that you can balance this offense, the easier it's going to get on Mookie and Freddie in the playoffs, because, again, I said it earlier, I don't think they'll press. I think they'll feel like, hey, I don't have to get a hit every time up, and this team can still win. So the better players you can get around them, a Lux, a Shohei, somebody like that, I think that only helps Freddie and Mookie as well. But again, hey, $500 million, 3 Tommy John surgeries, that's pretty tough. So that's going to be a pretty tough stretch. I won't be disappointed if they don't get him for those reasons right there. Goat Yachty, thank you so much for joining, Goat Yachty. Hey, make sure and come back, turn on your notifications so you know every time we release a new video or a new live. I'm a bit worried about getting Ohtani. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about. I just don't feel like he will change much, and we can't use all that money for one person. I agree with that, man. When you get tied into one person, hey, my Dodgers dogs are over here. They're about to fight. My 2 babies, my 2 pit bulls. So, hey, if they come into the screen, I apologize for that. No, not really, because I love the babies, and if they come into the screen, it just is what it is. So, hey, Fernando, thank you so much for the great comment. This is the best Dodger channel. I thank you so much for that, and I thank you so much for your support. I can't tell you. Hey, guys, I started this from scratch. I'm just a little guy in Oklahoma trying to work my butt off to make good content, and I've not had support from the big guys in terms of I haven't had a big, like a Dodgers Nation or a Dodgers Digest to back me. I have done this from the ground up. I've done it through the only way I know how to do it, which is hard work, positivity, and making people just like what I do. At least I hope people like what I do. So when people make comments like that, like Fernando just did, I can't tell you how much that means to me. You know, like Mike has made in the past, and all you guys on here, and Grizz and guys like that, when you guys make comments like that, it means the world to me. I assure you it does. Hep C, we're at the point where this Friedman doesn't want to deal with Boris thing is getting old, no doubt. That's kind of what I'm talking about. I think at some point that will change because he'll want to win more than he'll want to be stubborn from that. Okay, Mike, we cannot forget our new prospect Korean catcher, Young-Suk Yang. I have not seen Young-Suk Yang. I have not. I'll report on him when I see him. looking forward to seeing his career grow, no doubt about it. Okay, Eli gave a pink hands up. Okay, the Damino, that's part of the reason all my comments are usually dumb jokes over actual analysis. That's hilarious. The Damino is absolutely a riot. I'd love to be on the pod someday. Okay, Damino, we're going to get you on. Unfortunately, while I don't know as much about you, much as you and Austin, I come here to learn, so I might be all right. No, you would be more than all right. Okay, I'm glad. Hey, Mike, thank you so much for emailing that story again. Hey, if you want to be a beat writer for Dodgers Daily, just leave a comment. You can email me at dodgersdaily73@gmail.com. And, hey, I will put you on as an author, and we will get your stuff out. I would love to have as many beat writers as I possibly can and get as many. Hey, the thing that's great about beat writers, first of all, it takes a load off of me. Okay, it gives a different perspective. You know, it gives a perspective that you have and not that I have. And your perspective is likely to be different than mine. And so now Dodgers Daily is way more diversified. So that would be great. Hey, Darren Shepard, thank you so much for joining. Respect for the one-man show there. Dodgers make good pitchers look great and great look unhittable. Yeah, no doubt about that. From a fellow small local YouTuber. Hey, Darren, we got to stick together, brother. Hey, can you put the link to your YouTube feed and your YouTube channel in the chat right there? Also, put it in a comment. That way, everybody in here can see it. I would love to check out your channel. I will definitely start checking out your videos. And if you have a live feed, I'll make sure and turn my notifications on. That way, if I'm available, I will hop in on that live feed as well. So go ahead and put the URL to your channel right there, and we'll get after it. Happy to be here. Go Blue. Thank you, Eli. Tomatley, thank you for joining, Tomatley. What a great commenter. And boy, Tomatley, hey, you know, Tomatley has, you talk about baseball knowledge and wisdom and you know, just kind of one of those guys that always thinks things through and has wonderful comments, doesn't post off of emotion. Tomatley is one of those great commenters. If you don't believe me, just go back to the videos and see some of his comments. They're absolutely big time. Pro scouting has been finding good value at pitching. Offensively, not so much. I would agree with that. I think that's a truly 100% true statement. Hayward, first success story in a while, maybe since Muncy. I would say also, Max, yeah, Muncy and Chris Taylor were success stories as well. Meanwhile, DBacks, Moreno, Pham, Gurriel in the last 12 months. Yeah, I think Pham came over and Gurriel, didn't they come over in free agency in the middle of the year? Didn't Pham come over in the middle of this year? So I think that situation might be a little bit different, but that's a great point. Hey, you know, you haven't been able to go get the reclamation projects offensively like you have been able to pitching-wise. Okay. Abstract. All right, awesome. I love that name. Hey, Abstract, thank you so much for joining. Again, turn on your notifications. Make sure and come back when we have a live show. Did y'all forget Buehler had 2 TJ surgeries? Yeah, we've mentioned that earlier, that there's a chance he won't come back. But, hey, I think there's probably a better chance that he will. I'm not worried about the 2 TJ surgeries. I know several guys in the minor leagues who have already had 2 Tommy John surgeries. I've talked to them, and they are just as good or better than they ever have been. So the 2 instead of the 1, that doesn't bother me. I think you'll be fine. I think he laid off enough, and I think he's going to come back guns a-blazing. Sign Ohtani, he can still hit next season. Yeah. Grizz need lefty starters, not righties. I totally agree with that. Okay, so here's where I lack, okay, and this is where I really, 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 of course, I always wish I had Austin on because he does such a wonderful job. He's just such a great host on this show, okay? But I don't know who I want a guy who's going to be clearly the number 1 starter, Grizz. I don't know who that lefty is on the free agent market. You know, Eduardo Rodriguez maybe, but he's already turned down the trade for the Dodgers. So, hey, I'll tell you what, whenever we get Austin on their show Monday, we'll hit that topic. We'll see who the lefties are out there that the Dodgers might be able to get. And we might even do a live show on that. Dave Roberts was handed the best team in baseball the last 8 years and only 1 World Series. This is Team Ruiz. Hey, Team Ruiz, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you coming on over here and getting in the lobby and leaving your comments. Only one World Series title. Any halfway decent manager would have, at the very least, won 4 titles. I think that's a fair comment to make. And, hey, this is no hold barred day today on Dodgers Daily. No doubt about it. I have already said that I have no problem whatsoever if the Dodgers do go a different direction from Dave Roberts. And I don't mean that to throw shade with Dave. I just think, hey, if time for new, if you want to say it's time for a new direction, time for a new voice, I'm all about it. You are the bling bling, Casey. Thank you for being awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate you saying that, and I certainly appreciate all your support. Mike, one of the, I don't even want to call them supporters because I live by the, and I was a head coach in multiple sports, high school wise, 3 different sports actually for many, many different years. And so, one of the things that I was always taught, Coach Holt taught me this, Eddie taught me this, my dad taught me this, Coach DeFee taught me this. You don't want to be the guy that everybody feels like they're working for. You want to be the guy that everybody feels like they're working with. So when I say, hey, I almost feel bad when I say, hey, like fan or supporter or somebody in the audience, because I don't feel like that's even doing you guys justice, because a guy like Mike, a guy like Grizz, a guy like Tomatley is way, way more than that. You're actually part of Dodgers Daily. You are working with Dodgers Daily. So I don't know exactly how to phrase that, but I want to make sure you guys understand that. The only way we bring Justin Turner is to hire him as assistant coach. That's a great idea. Okay, would you guys like to see Bauer back? No, I would not. I'm not on that bandwagon. And, hey, I don't really want to get into whether he was – I think it was – I don't want to get into the details of his deal. Beyond all of that, I just don't think Trevor Bauer is a good teammate. I don't think the players wanted him, and I just don't think he would actually help. I think from whatever he could give you on the mound, I think it's going to be a negative, so much negative everywhere else that it's actually going to end up being a net negative. That's just my opinion, though. That might be the old guy in me telling everybody to get off my lawn, but who knows? Bellinger, this is from Craig. Craig is another one of these guys that is just such a wonderful, wonderful help. That's the way I'm going to put it. A wonderful help for Dodgers Daily, so I certainly appreciate you, Craig. Bellinger probably goes to the Yankees. Yeah, that would be good. Well, let's see. I think part of maybe he wasn't, of course, the Chicago, that's a pretty big limelight, but still it's not like the Dodgers, and it's not like the Yankees. I don't know that Bellinger could handle New York, man. I think that would be tough. He would have to hit every day. Freeman at first base, Bush second, Lux at short, Vargas at third, DeLuca in left field. Yes, there you go. This is it right here. Okay, this is it right here. Freeman at first, Bush at second, Lux at short, Vargas at third, DeLuca in left, Altman center, Betts in right field. Boom. Great job. And you need Miguel Vargas to hit like he's capable of. You need Michael Bush to hit like he's capable of. Those are 2 guys that could hit 280-ish. Okay, and I think Miguel Vargas could be a high contact guy. I think Johnny DeLuca could be a high contact guy. I think Johnny DeLuca could be the dynamic 2020 guy. And I think he could also be a fringe 30-30 guy. And I think you could have a fringe 30-30 guy in left field and a 20-20 guy in center. James Outman strikes out too much. I wish he could correct that part of his game, but still 2020 is still 2020. That would be pretty cool. I think that's a pretty good lineup. Team Ruiz, any Little League coach could have won 100 games with this team. I would probably disagree with you on that with all the differences and the changes they had, man. You take any other team in the organization and literally take away all 5 of their starters. I don't think any other organization could have won 100 games. So I don't mean to be disrespectful, team, and I'm so glad you're here and your thoughts are wonderful, but I think I do disagree with that. The Dodgers are the best team in all of baseball, but Dave Roberts was clueless on how to manage them. Okay, if you don't like Dave Roberts, that's one thing, but I do think, Team Ruiz, I do really think, hey, I can't defend his postseason, but I do think you have to at least give him credit that he did a damn good job in the regular season this year. Taking a bunch of rookies and all the differences and changes, I think you have to give him that credit. I don't think you can take that credit away from him. Again, not to be argumentative, and I hope you don't see it that way, but that's kind of what I think. Okay, Devo says, I agree. I don't like the DH either. Just took a whole strategy out of the game. Yeah, and I love the strategy of baseball. Plus, I don't like pitch com. Yeah, the first time I saw it was at Vanderbilt, and I remember it was like the crazy. Where I do like pitch com is in college baseball, because if you ever watch a college baseball pitching coach give signals, it's all about them. It takes them like 30 minutes to get through all these gyrations. So it took all that away from it, and from that perspective, it sped up college baseball. So I do like it in college baseball. I think if you watched minor league baseball like I do, and you've seen the rules they've instituted there, once you watch minor league baseball, honestly, guys, it's hard to watch Major League Baseball, because minor league baseball has such a rapid pace to it. It's constantly moving and has such a great flow. When you go back and you watch a Major League game, it's like, holy crap, do these guys ever throw the ball to home plate? Do they ever get in the box? Do they ever? It's such a slower game. So I think as time goes on, you guys, as this goes on, I think you'll like the changes that minor leagues have made. Okay, Julio, actually. I'm sorry, not Julio, Julio. It's amazing what one letter can do to a name. Hey, thank you so much for joining, Julio. Make sure and turn your notifications on. Make sure and come back every time we go live. And make sure and check out all of our other videos. Leave comments. Awesome to have you on here. Remember, the front office has a big say in pitching changes. I would agree with that, and they have that pregame. They all map it out together. I totally agree with that. I think the more collaboration, the better. If you get all the brains together, I think that makes for a good plan. So I personally like that part of it. True Roberts should have taken out Lynn. That's the one argument I have. Oscar Prince Boateng. Okay, Oscar, thank you so much for joining. Well, Luck still hasn't shown anything yet. Agreed. Gonsolin is only good for one half of the season. Agreed. Miguel Vargas is still not ready for the majors. Agreed. Let's hope Bush can actually earn himself a spot. Agreed. Totally agree with all those. I don't think any of that's negative. I think that's realistic, and I think that's all fair. Okay, Hep C, how you feel about moving Mookie back in the lineup since Lux is coming back in more contact-based? How do you feel about moving Mookie back in the back in the order? Hey, I love it. Put Lux at leadoff, put Mookie. I think Mookie's a guy kind of like you did defensively. I think if you moved him around the lineup, I think it would just kind of get his juices flowing, and I think that actually would challenge him from day to day if he was in a different spot in the lineup. Freddie Mookie, Shohei Smith as the top 5. Mookie being protected by Shohei in October will help, no doubt. Team Ruiz, 2 main changes. Fire Day, I think we've already talked. We've already gone over that one. Okay, back to Craig at the bottom. Actually, here's Daniel F. Abstract no. Okay, we'll get back to what he's saying no to here in a second. What do you think of auto strike zone? I hate it. Okay, I don't like robo ump, Craig, and I can tell you this, the players didn't like it, the managers didn't like it, the system they liked was the challenge system, and let me explain why, okay? So, the plate is 17 inches wide. When you actually add the black to it, it ends up being 19 inches. That's a measurement, okay? So in and out's a measurement. But when you're talking up and down, okay, so they've never been able to come up with an agreement of how you determine what pitch is too high and what pitch is too low. Because, hey, a 6'3" guy, one 6'3" guy might have a different frame than the next 6'3" guy. So one 6'3" guy might have long legs and a short torso, and then the other guy might be vice versa. So you can't just say, hey, at any 6'3" guy, the top of the zone here and the bottom of the zone is there. So then you have to go in and you have to make the zone special for each player. So then you have to put into consideration, okay, it's not, no player just goes in there and stands straight up, right? Okay, so then you have to put into consideration their stance. Then you have to put in consideration, okay, so where do they swing when a pitch is located high in the, because if you're high in the zone, that's the flatter you swing. So the lower the ball is, the more you tilt, okay? So the lower the pitch is, the lower the strike zone is going to be because your body's actually going to tilt a little bit more. So there's so many different moving targets to putting a robo-ump to be consistent at the top and the bottom of the zone that it actually comes out more accurate if you allow a human eye to take into account all those different factors for the different variations of hitters. Plus, hey, even if you get the stance, let's say you take the cumulative data of the last 30 at-bats for a player, which is what they did at the end of AAA. So what if a guy takes a different stance with 2 strikes? Now he's all widened out. And now that automated zone is not calculated to the wide stance that he's incorporated with 2 strikes. There's no way to account for all that. The human eye does a better job of it. And then what happens is if something looks odd, like egregious up and down, then they challenge. And then you can go to the challenge system from there and everybody's good with it. So the challenge system easily was my favorite. It was easily Travis Barbery's favorite. Matter of fact, you can go back to our interview and you can ask him. I asked him that question. I asked Landon Knack that question. I asked Hunter Fiducia that question. I asked position players. I asked pitchers. I asked managers. They all went with the challenge system. Darren, Mookie wouldn't like being moved, but he needs to be open to it with his lack of performance in the postseason. Hey, see, I'm opposite. I think Mookie Betts would love being in a different position every night in the lineup because I think that would be a new challenge for him. I think his brain thinks like that. I think he gets bored if he does the same thing over and over every day. So I think you could approach him from that perspective like you did the defense. We're going to move you around every day, and it's going to be an exciting new challenge. I think he would take that on. Okay, Oscar Prince, but then he went Mookie, Turner, and then Freeman. Okay, Darren, mine as well. Thought that was cool to see. Mookie is slow. Always looks like he is running. I know he does look slow, Orlando. I agree. It's weird. I don't think he's as fast as he used to be, but I don't think he's slow. I think it just kind of is some kind of optical illusion going on there. But I agree with you. I've noticed that, and I've actually made that comment. Okay, Mike, they tried with the Turner and Dave Roberts sided with Mookie. 1 Turner, 2 Freeman. Let me read that again, Mike. They tried that with Trey Turner. What did they try? How about Matt Chapman stepping in at third? It'd be kind of nice having a Gold Glover over there. That's Devo. They tried that with the Turner and Dave Roberts sided with Mookie. 1, Turner 2, Freeman 3, and then Betts. Abstract. Move Mookie back for Lux. What the hell am I reading? LOL. Okay, yeah, obviously Abstract does not agree with that. How about Matt Chapman? Okay, we've already read that one. What do you think of that? Okay, there's my auto strike zone. I just responded to that. Orlando, 1 Lux, 2 Freddie, 3 Mookie. I like it. Okay, I think Mookie's hip is still bugging him. I think that's it, Darren. I think you nailed it. I think that's exactly what you're seeing right there. No doubt about that. Okay, Grizz Monster. Devo Chapman is starting to have the same back issues Turner has been suffering from the past 4 years. Yeah. So, and Daniel F., hey, thank you for joining, Daniel. Leave Betts and Freeman stars just need to perform. No doubt about that. I would totally agree with that. So, hey, this has been a great show. It is coming up on 8 o'clock. Tomatley Casey, this came up last night in Tim Rogers' chat. Are there any managers in the Dodgers minor league system that could replace Roberts? Several of them. You got, well, at the AAA level, you've got Travis Barbary, and they're all different type of personalities. Barbary's kind of your no-nonsense, very disciplined, kind of a military-type style manager. Then you have Henny, who's kind of the player's manager. Then you got Daniel Nava, it's kind of the young, cool guy. And then you have Shu, the old veteran. So I think the guy that would get the first shot at it would be Travis Barbary, and I think he would do great. No doubt about it. I think he would do great. But I think the next guy in line, if you give it a year or two, would be Daniel Nava. And I think Daniel Nava, holy smokes, he would knock it out of the park. Damino could tell you, he saw with his own eyes there at Great Lakes, this dude's a stud. So to answer your question, I think the answer to your managerial, not maybe this year because this was his first year to manage. You know, he took over for Austin Chubb, who took a different position in the organization. But I think if it's 2 years from now, it's a slam dunk. It's Daniel Nava. I think the move is trade for Nolan Arenado at third base. Yeah, that would be a good move. Okay. Trade for Rosarina, Randy Rosarina. I saw him in AAA Oklahoma City, and I think it was like 180 degrees over the weekend when I was on the grounds crew, and I think he went like 21 for 24, something like that, and he was having the best time of his life. Hey, good evening, Austin. Okay, Daniel Nava is a killer manager, no doubt about it. I mean, he's that perfect blend between players manager that gets the players comfortable and motivated, but still very professional and very, very bottom line. Hey, we're here to produce, we're here to win, and anything beyond that is just garbage. That's pretty much how he views things, and he gets the best out of his players. So thank you for joining, Austin. I know Austin's had a very, very, very busy day. We've had a wonderful chat here. So I think if we have, it's 8 o'clock right now, so I think I'm going to wind this down. We're going to stop this here in about 5 minutes. So if you have any more comments, now is the time to leave them. Also, don't forget, now is the time to jump on over and leave a regular comment. Hey, this is going to archive, so if you leave a regular comment, and then if you leave a like, and if you share this, that will get it viewed more after it archives, and that really helps Dodgers Daily. Randy is a stud, and the World Baseball Classic story is awesome. No doubt about it. So if you do that, go ahead and leave a like. Again, make sure to turn your notifications on. Again, one last reminder, if you would like to be a beat writer for Dodgers Daily, too, just let me know. You can email me, dodgersdaily73@gmail.com, dodgersdaily73@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment, DM me, something like that, whatever you'd like to do on any of my social media platforms or on YouTube right here. Okay, and also, if you know anybody who would like to sponsor this show, please let me know because we are looking for sponsors. as we grow this team of guys like Austin and Coach Holt, and I'm going to bring on Andrew Hickman, I think, on a podcast. He's beat writing. Mike, I know, is writing a little bit. I would like to at least have a budget enough, not necessarily to pay me, but where I could actually have a team and pay them a little bit for their time in helping build Dodgers Daily. So if you know anybody that would like to help sponsor Dodgers Daily as far as an ad on any of these shows, just let me know. Okay, Devo says, I hope the front office doesn't get too desperate and trade Rendon Cone and Josue De Paula. They will not do that. They are not going to trade Josue De Paula. That is not going to happen. Rendon Cone, I think they probably would trade because they have a ton of, I mean, the organization has guys that you never heard of that are just incredibly good infielders, like Luis Diaz. Okay, I mean, this guy is just an awesome player. Okay, Alex Freeland, awesome player. I think Griffin Lockwood. I think Dalton Rushing could probably play some third base. So when you look, Wilman Diaz is a great prospect at shortstop. Austin Gauthier can play shortstop. Taylor Young can play shortstop. And there's just the Jordan Thompson, the young man out at LSU. I would say, the reason why you could trade Diego Cartaya, not because you don't think he's great, but because you have Dalton Rushing. I think the reason why that the Dodgers might consider Rendon Cone is because you have so much depth on the left side of your infield at the minor league level. I think Bauer needs to come back. This team needs a villain in that locker room because this team is too soft. That's a good point. I can see your point there. Darren says, glad I found this channel, man. Lifelong Dodgers fan. Appreciate the perspective. Look forward to the next show. Hey, thank you so much for Darren, for those comments, Darren. I am so glad as well that you found this channel. Hey, Christopher, thank you for joining. But Darren, thank you so much for joining. I am glad that you found this channel as well. I hope this channel keeps growing. It hasn't grown in leaps and bounds, but it has grown steadily throughout the years. It's been kind of that long and steady wins the race type deal. So super excited for that. Resign JD Martinez as DH, trade for Corbin Burns, number 1 starting pitcher, and look into trading for Castillo, Seattle, number 2 starting pitcher. Seattle trades everyone. All that would be cheaper and wouldn't tie up future salary. Great idea. Hey, Christopher, make sure and come back to all of our live chats. Those are great, wonderful thoughts. Leave comments on all our videos. Make sure your notifications are turned on. Become a part of the Dodgers Daily community on a consistent basis. Those are wonderful comments. Otani would tie up a lot of cash, no doubt, and Mike Scioscia for bench coach. Those are great thoughts. Okay, so it's 8:05, so I think I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to go take my 2 pit bulls for a walk. I'm going to hug on my wife and kiss my wife for a little bit, and I'm going to go enjoy being Casey Porter for a little bit and not Dodgers Daily. So, hey, this has been just a wonderful show. Sounds familiar, man. Keep up the grind. Yeah, no doubt about it. This has been just a wonderful show. One of the best crowds we've had of a live show, of course, with all the, the way that the things ended, we're all wanting to get this off our chest. So, hey, I super enjoyed this. I know I feel better after getting all this venom out of my system. So thank you for listening to me ramble on tonight. No doubt about it. Great job this season, Casey. Your videos make the season even better. Thank you so much, Tomatley. I certainly appreciate all of your support. You are such a wonderful part of Dodgers Daily. So, hey, until next time, I can't wait to get Austin Brubaker back. Craig, thank you again. Gerald, says Arenado trade. So, again, I can't wait to get Austin Brubaker back. Don't forget, we have Coach Holt coming on in the morning. Can't wait to get his thoughts. You're welcome, Fernando. Thank you very much. Have a great night yourself, Mike. Looking forward in the morning to checking out your email on what you sent me today with a little bit of an article that you wrote. Can't wait to read that. So can't wait to get Austin back on Monday, get his thoughts. Can't wait to get Coach Holt on in the morning. So we'll release a video tomorrow. So thank you to all. And, hey, as always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in and say, go Dodgers. Have a good night.